Welcome, fellow gamers.
It's time for Side Scrollers with me, Stuttering Craig.
You decide when you lose, not other people.
And Blabs.
I like pickles.
And co-hosted by our friends from around the internet. If you like common sense, hit that thumbs up button and, of course, the subscribe button. And join us Monday through Friday live at 11 a.m. Central Time. And now, broadcasting from our homes, it's time for the #1 gaming and entertainment podcast on God's green earth. It's time for Side Scrollers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome on out to Side Scrollers on YouTube.com and Rumble.com and SideScrollers.locals.com. Happy Thursday to you, everybody. Boy, oh boy. We got a good one today. Hey, everybody, I'm Stuttering Craig. Man, got a lot to talk about today. We did a little digging for you guys. So gather around, let people know the show is happening today. We'd really appreciate it. Hello, Blabs.
Hi! I was literally just about to cough, so now I'm suppressing it. Hi!
There's Blabs. Also joining us today, the mega... Oh, hold on. Are you ready, Blabs?
Yeah! Hi! Oh, chat. That was hilarious. Anyway, hi. By the way, yes, chat, I fixed it. It's okay. You were underwater before.
That's fine. It happens. It's weird. It's a StreamYards thing, you know?
I'm
telling you, the show will be better when we're sitting in the same room, chit-chatting. I'm telling you.
Slapping Craig, too.
It'll, yeah. Can only imagine the slapping will be happening.
We did like a tortilla slap thing?
A tortilla? Did you say, hold on, I'm sorry. Stop the music. Did you say a tortilla slap thing?
Yeah, tortilla, whichever. You've not seen it?
It's, Blabs, it's tortilla.
That's what I said.
With 2 L's.
That's literally what I said.
Turns into a Y. Tortilla.
Yes. His Spanish class with Craig.
Listen, I have 7 years of Espanol under my belt. All right. I got a little.
All right.
Espanol.
How do you spell hola?
Hola. H-A-H-O-L-A. Hola.
Guys, right off the bat, we're failing. It's just an H-A.
I can't read in English. How am I going to read in Spanish?
There you go. I stand proof point. Anyway, hi, chat.
Hi, everybody. Great to see you. Hey, joining us today, the always energetic Malcolm.
Hello! So excited to be here with you.
Just right out like a cannon. Just right out of there, man. How's everything going today, bud?
Absolutely spectacular.
Always is. Always is. You know, you come out with such energy. Is it real? Is it authentic? Or are you just insane?
Oh, no. It's completely manufactured. I find that if I reflexively start every conversation high and positive energy, it's easier to stay high and positive energy throughout the conversation.
Oh, well, that's good. That makes good sense. All right, nice. Hey, everybody, let's go. Blabs comes in. She's like sadness and insiders. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. I'm Blabs, but I have an apple, so it's okay.
Are you going to be eating an apple during the show today, Blabs?
I kind of forgot to eat food, so I don't want to pass out. So I'm just going to nibble on this quietly. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Is that okay?
Okay. Well, you only had 2 hours to eat before the show, so let's just do it.
I forgot, right? And then I got busy, and then I was like, I can't even eat this morning. I don't know what to eat. Listen, it's a whole female thing, all right? Sometimes you just stare at the fridge and like, I have nothing to eat. That was me.
Now you have an apple. Well, good for you, Blabs. Well, welcome on in, Malcolm. Glad you're here, Blabs, with your apple. How you like them apples? We're ready to go.
Do you know, we should have a whole conversation about apples one day. There's a whole bunch of them, like Gala, Pink Lady, Macintosh. You know what I'm saying? It'd be really fun.
I don't care.
I think Malcolm agrees with me. Apple conversations are great.
I actually grow a lot of apples on my property. I'm a big apple fan.
What kind?
Oh, all sorts of kinds. You got, your Granny Smiths, your Macintosh, your wines.
Quick reminder that we are live over at rumble.com/sidescrollers. Join us over there if you haven't yet. If you want visceral Apple talk, we'll do that in a post show, maybe, perhaps. I'm just kidding, Malcolm. Welcome back.
Listen, we talk agriculture. It's very important information that people should know about. There's so many people who just go to the grocery store and it's like, well, how'd the chicken get there? It's like, anyway.
You used to work at a chicken processing plant, right?
Not processing. It was a whole free range farm, but it was like all different types of livestock. But I've done all the process. Like I've literally seen a cow's head like completely like off its body, de-skinned and everything, and the nerves still tingling. I have it on video.
Craig is just, this is not what the audience came for.
No, you like get like a basically like it's like an ammo-less gun, basically. You go ding, and then they die.
Well, thank you for that, Blabs. Appreciate the great
It's important
imagery
to know how you get your food. It's important to know how I get your food, bruv.
It's great. Thank you for
Craig's
that.
like, why are we doing this today?
Well, yeah, you're right. Why are we doing this right now?
Because why not?
Well, we also have an X account where you could find out that Malcolm was going to be on the show if you followed us over there at side. Let's just, the intro's fine. Whatever. You guys know. Just find the link down below. Subscribe to the channel. Let's hit 900 likes. We're at 85,300. Let's continue to grow every single day. We know that. Let's hit 900 likes. Let's hit our 25 memberships. Let's have a great show and do all that good stuff. Okay, you got the intro is great. There you go. But that would be it. Hi, Blabs. How are you? I would be
He's like, how do chickens get to the grocery?
Listen, I'm out.
Anyway, let me fix this. Hey, man, that's better. All right. So, what do you think about pigs?
About pigs? Well, we don't have any yet, but they're delicious. I hear they make great pets too. We're now
I knew a pig once named Elizabeth, and you could tell her to sit down, and you would be able to feed her with an egg. Oh, hi, Jay. It's true though. You could tell her to sit, and she would sit, and then you feed her an egg. It was great.
You had a pig?
No, I used to work on a farm and all that, right? So, yeah.
Oh God!
This pig was named Elizabeth. Listen, it's fine, guys.
We got to get into games. Enough of the agriculture.
Have you played Farm Simulator?
I'm taking the show over. I'm taking it over. I'm taking it back.
Oh, but your favorite game is the dinosaur.
I love it. Yes, Jurassic Park,
which is just a farm simulator.
You said Tycoon 2 beats everybody. Like the original ones, not the.
You feed the humans to the livestock in this simulator.
I love how Craig just tried to mute my mic but forgot that I have to just do that instead.
We gotta get this. We gotta get this on the rails. I'm all about.
Fine.
If you guys want to have agriculture talk, you can have agriculture talk.
The news is insane today. Let's get to this.
Yes, there's so much to talk about. It's ridiculous. Not cow heads and nerve endings. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyways, we are live today everywhere. It's Pride Month. Go buy some merch because, hey, you're going to look good in it. There it is right there, the American Pride shirt. You guys can also go pick up the second most popular shirt we've had, which is the Let Us Skateboard shirt. Both shirts, very popular. Go pick it up. The Let Us Skateboard t-shirt designed by my now 10-year-old daughter. Go pick them up right now. Really appreciate that. Let's see. We got all that. We got all the good stuff. And yeah, there we go. Okay. Let's reel it out. Let's get this going. Let's just shake it off.
Like the cow nerves.
Yeah, we're gonna shake it off. We're gonna get back at it. We're gonna shake it off with Autumn coming in. Look at this, Autumn with 5 gifted memberships. That is spectacular. Thank you, Autumn, for your sanity and believing that all normal men have a place to go on a day-to-day basis, which is great. Autumn, thank you very much for your support. If you guys got a gifted membership, make sure you say a thank you and consider paying it forward. Also, Shane came in with a 10 over on Rumble. Thank you so much, Shane. Says, hey, Blabs, you may need to help get good at playing video games. He had a hard time yesterday to the point he told Scrooge McDuck to shut up. We, the chat, we're starting to get worried. Hashtag.
Oh, I think he means to help Craig get good.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm just reading it verbatim. Yes. Thank you, Shane. Scrooge McDuck does need to shut up. You're
playing DuckTales, right?
DuckTales Remastered, and it's spectacular up until the point to where you have to start over. And that's what happened yesterday. So now after closing in, I got a hard reset yesterday, right at the very end. And there we are. Noodles also says, Amandla Stenberg I think it's Stenberg. Is that her name?
Amandla Stenberg.
Amanda Law? Is
There's
that her
an
name?
L in there. It's apparently.
Amanda Law?
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing. I feel like they just accidentally sneezed and an L came out and was in there. But apparently, it's like some African thing. Yeah. Amanda!
All right. She just can bitch, moan, and complain all she wants. At the end of the day, she signed onto a terrible show where the fan base questions their love for the franchise. Thank you, Noodles. Appreciate that. We are, we're going to be getting into that in a major way coming up. Amanda Law.
You guys did deep research on this lead actor of The Acolyte.
That's what separates our show from every other show on the internet. We're willing to dig. We're going to dig and we're going to dig and we're going to dig. Just like DB Wild, who came in with 10 gifted normal men membership. Yes. Love that. Take that, normal men. Hey, if you guys got gifted a membership, make sure you say thanks. Consider paying for it and have a bite of your apple, just like Blabs. Malcolm, what color are we going with today, my friend, on the wall of support? Also,
Yellow.
The Super Kratos 3000.
Yellow
it is. Sounds good. The Super Kratos 3000 getting another spot on the wall. Kratos, thank you again for your support and the naming rights for the year for that. DB Wild with the 10. That's awesome. Love to see that. We're going to have a great show today. That's spectacular. All right, Blabs, give us a rundown while I put DB Wild on the wall of today in video game.
All right. So this one is actually one for Melanie Mack. But so June 20th, we have Kung Fu Heroes releasing back in 1986. We have 1944, The Loop Master releasing back in 2000. And obviously this one's for Melanie. Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, The Angel of Darkness releasing back in 2003. I feel like you've played Kung Fu Heroes, Craig.
Yeah, I played it. Yeah, I don't think it's especially good. I do like 1944 though. Those overhead shoot 'em up games. Those are great. Love those games. Really, really fun. But yeah, and we should. I'm sure Melanie would be all over the Tomb Raider. So yeah, it's we're off. Lots going on.
Did you play any of those?
No, actually I haven't, but I was shocked to see that 2003 was 20 years ago.
That's a slap in the face, isn't it?
That hit me pretty hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's even worse is when you go, like my wife and I were talking about this. When people say 30 years ago, in our minds we go back to like 1975, but 30 years ago was 1994.
Oof.
Like 94 is like 30 years ago. What? So yeah, that's where we're at now in society. Congratulations. Time marches on, as they say. Crazy. I had an idea for a video. I've been thinking about things to do, and I like doing man on the street stuff. Labs, I was talking with Savvy about this yesterday. We were having a conversation back and forth, and I think I want to do this video. I'm going to go out and do some normal man on the street stuff. Get it? See, normal man.
Maybe you should just carry just in case.
Well, I will. Maybe.
just in case.
Just in case. But I have this idea for a video where we go out and we take take Joanna Dark from the first Perfect Dark, and you take Joanna Dark from today's Perfect Dark, and you just ask people like, hey, which do you prefer, of the two? And you get people's perspectives on that. And that's it. Just like a short, like 3.5 minute video. But I think people, I think we all know where it would go. It's like get the voice of the gamer and everything. So I'm thinking about going out and shooting that. I just need a camera person to hold a camera while I do it. So you
could totally have one of your kids do it.
I'm not going to have my children be
Why not? It's great work. Hi, Dad. What do you do? Awesome.
Let's do it on the iPhone. It'll be easier that way. The iPhone cameras are great. Anyways, yeah, it'll be fun. I'll need to get one of those little microphone things that you hold, But yeah, that should be fun to do. With that said, we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to be we got some really good palate cleansers and quick hits to start, man. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about this. But right now, it's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everybody in the world's favorite segment. It's time for Hard News. Hard News. For our first story, this should be later in the show. This just should be a headliner, but Blab sent this over my way today, and I got to be honest, I love everything about what I'm about to see. As you know, I am playing through DuckTales right now. DuckTales Remastered over on the Side Scrollers Plays channel, which, once again, is an entirely new channel, entirely different channel than this channel. But Blab sent this over my way, and I love everything about this. Malcolm, are you a big Arnold Schwarzenegger fan?
I am not, but I am a big DuckTales fan. I actually think the reboot for DuckTales slaps, and the DuckTales song is like one of the best of the old jingles, and the reboot is even better.
Well, I'll tell you this. Yes, DuckTales, old school DuckTales is great. New school DuckTales, awesome. Like, they did it right. And there's callbacks to the old school DuckTales in the new DuckTales, which, by the way, that series is over. Like, they finished the new DuckTales. Like, that had like a good 3 or 4 or 5 season run. But yeah, it was very popular. Now, I wouldn't say as popular as the old school DuckTales, but it still did great. But as you said, the original theme was spectacular. Yeah. So if you like Arnold Schwarzenegger, why not just have him sing the DuckTales theme song, which is what we have today? So let's go check out Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is obviously fake Arnold, but this is great, spectacular stuff. And I feel like this is something that everybody should hear at some time in their life. So that's what we're going to do. Thank you, Blast, for sharing this.
Race cars, lasers, aeroplanes. It's a duck. Knights of a mystery. Only write history. DuckTales. Every day that I've been making DuckTales. Tales of daring, do bad, and good luck tales.
By the way, nailing it. That's like when the pies come in. I always love that part. Ding, 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 ding. And they hear him be like, it sounds like he's coughing up something at all times. I mean, it's great stuff. Dare we even continue? Absolutely.
The danger. What's behind you? There's a stranger. How to find you? What to do? Just scramble to some DuckTales. Every day they're out there making DuckTales.
I want to point out that there's these two guys, like on Instagram and probably other platforms, but they are professionals, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they are doing like everything you can think of, like any type of song or game intro or show intro. They're doing it. It's all Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wait, so these guys, they're Arnold Schwarzenegger's impersonators?
Yeah, they like they literally just pretend to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, like just like this, and they will just, yeah, it's amazing.
We need more of this in life.
I'll have to find the account for you so you can go and follow them in your free time.
I feel like we should just finish this because we're almost done. I think we should.
And good luck tales. Not Tony Tales or Captain Tales. No DuckTales.
It finishes with a banger. I do have vivid imagery of my head as Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator going through the jungle, singing that song with his massive machine gun in his hand. Just I have DuckTales in my head. I must sing it. Oh, that's awesome. Malcolm, your thoughts on the Arnold Schwarzenegger DuckTales remastered?
It was beautiful and very on brand for a show where you're always singing things in silly accents.
Right. By the way, has since been retired. Blabs has stepped away from the karaoke mic, but that doesn't mean that
still sings.
Yeah, we've seen a sharp decline, Blabs, in singing songs or $100 donations since the karaoke has gone away. But we've seen an uptick in $50 donations since boobs. That's right.
I think it's a win-win, man. Lots of boobs.
There's a big difference between 50 and 100, but it is fun. So double the difference, by the way. With that said, look at this. Goosium came in. Says, fun fact, Arnold can speak perfect English, but plays up the accent because it became his brand. Really? Bob, see if you can find some perfect English Arnold. Maybe English accent Arnold. That's interesting. And Lord J came in with a 20. Says, bruh, that song, you know the one, is so effing cringe. But the chorus kind of slaps. We are so we are so bored. Don't F with your discourse. We should turn that back onto them. Lord J, we're gonna get into that in just a little bit. And I'm not gonna lie to you. Like the chorus does kind of slap in that. It really does.
Yeah.
It's not that bad of a song, just the message associated with it. It is very embarrassing. Lord J, appreciate you, my man. And JR came in and says, Blabs, thank you for that DuckTales Arnie cover.
You're welcome.
There you go. All right, we have some more news we have to hit on. Malcolm, did you see the original Street Fighter movie from 30 years ago?
I love the original Street Fighter movie from 30 years ago. That movie was fire. It still holds up for anyone who hasn't seen it. Like, oh my God, that great line when she's asking like if he remembers killing her father, right? And like how this has set her whole course. And he goes like, for me, that was a Tuesday or something. Like he acted the hell out of that role.
You're muted, Craig.
You're muted.
I was muted because I was pulling it up on the back end. Here we go.
I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember?
For you, the day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Oh, so that's the whole DSP thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was just a schmuck and didn't know the days of the week.
You just now got it?
Well, I knew that he was referring to this movie, but I've not seen this movie, right? So it's the first time I've ever seen this clip.
Well,
you really should see the movie. It's quite entertaining if you have a high cheese tolerance. Not quite as good as the first Mortal Kombat movie. Actually, the second Mortal Kombat movie I think is the best because it's even higher cheese than the first Mortal Kombat movie. But those, amazing.
Well, the original Street Fighter movie, like there's this reputation that it was a failure. It was not a failure. It was tremendously successful. It had a $35 million budget and made $100 million before home video releases. And I know tons of people who own that movie on VHS back in the day and have since bought it on DVD and everything else in between. It was not a financial failure by any means. Now, you could argue if it was a great film, whatever, that's fine. But it is 30 years old. And I saw this. I know. I'm sorry, Malcolm. I'm sorry. I saw this today, and this comes from Time Extension. Time Extension is a great retro blog, and they have this article. It says 30 years on, and Capcom is still making quote millions from Van Damme's live action Street Fighter movie. Now millions is subjective because it's not millions of dollars, millions of yen. So a million yen is about $6,000 or so. So they're still making thousands of dollars from distribution and various things from the Street Fighter movie from back in the day. Still pretty cool. Pretty cool to see that movie is still generating money every year, a profit, just straight up profit. Malcolm, you're going to say something?
No, just
okay. No, I'm not at all. But that was, this is a movie that gets brought up all the time. Raul Julia's last movie. He people talk about the unbelievable acting he did in that movie, especially as he was dying of stomach cancer. Died shortly after the movie, and like that's crazy. Yep. I love everything about. I don't
Famously
love the movie.
Took the role for his kid.
Right. Yes, took the role for his kid because his kid loved the game. He didn't really know anything about it, but it was fun to watch, man. Fun to see, and it was very cheesy for sure. But it's like that good cheese, that nostalgic cheese, if you will. Yeah. If you guys want to talk dairy, now's your chance.
I love Parmigiano Reggiano.
But it is also kind of interesting almost in that there's no message that the thing's trying to get across. Today, often when things are cheesy or low effort, there's some sort of alternate message or even be a good person. This is just how can we try to get as many characters from the Street Fighters games into one narrative arc?
Right. And there was they actually created a character for the Street
I
Fighter.
didn't know that.
Yeah, Captain Sawada. He was actually a playable character in the Street Fighter 2 the movie, the game, or Street Fighter 2 the game. Yeah, Street Fighter 2 the movie, the game, which was extremely confusing back in the day. It was a kind of a Mortal Kombat-ish live action digitization fighting game. And it was in the arcade. I remember seeing it and was like, okay, we're kind of jumped the shark a little bit here. But yeah, Captain Sawada was created for that movie, and he didn't have a very big role in the movie either, but he was a playable character in the game. So yeah, pretty fun stuff. Anyways, the legacy lives on and is still making money to this day. So there we are. You guys got anything? Any closing thoughts on Street Fighter the movie?
Yeah, Street Fighters or Mortal Kombat? Which do you prefer?
I've always been a Street Fighter guy until recently, where I think I've made the jump to Mortal Kombat. For me, when Mortal Kombat first came out, I couldn't get past the idea that there was a button to block. I was like, I don't want a button to block. It should just be able to press back. And that to me was the big difference. Yes, there's the fatalities and all that stuff, but strictly from a fighting perspective, I didn't want to, I thought the 5-button setup in the arcade of the 2 highs and the 2 lows and then the block in the middle, that was a really hard button layout, I guess, when you're a kid. Whereas with 6 buttons, it was considerably easier, I guess. Just because it's pretty self-explanatory. You say,
well thought out response.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That's I've had 30 years to think about this. So, but yeah, it's I've always been a Street Fighter guy, but definitely I appreciate the new Mortal Kombats. Specifically, my favorites like Mortal Kombat 9. I love Mortal Kombat 9. That was
pretty good. I like that
really
one.
Good. All right, speaking of really good, I got another quick hit here. We've talked a lot about the upcoming Universal Epic Universe Park. And this morning they announced, for the first time, they're showing off some of the new Dark Universe portion of their park. Now, the new Epic Universe Park is kind of like a hub and spokes design where you travel through these individual portals to go into these individual worlds, right? And the Dark Universe is designed to be the traditional Universal monsters theme park. And this is very, very cool to see. Malcolm, are you a big theme park guy?
I go to theme parks, but I wouldn't say I'm a unusually big fan. I mean, I've been to all the theme parks, so I guess yes, in the US at least.
So you're very familiar.
Yeah, very familiar. Hugely partial to Universal, even before they started kicking Disney's butt recently.
Okay. Well, they announced this here, and this is the Dark Universe aspect of this. It's just a short little teaser they put out on X today, and we'll check this out.
Nothing is more universal than the Universal monsters.
We made a place for the monster lovers. We made a place for the thrill seekers.
Every inch of Dark Universe tells a story. You can believe that monsters are real and it's all happening right here.
You're going to see things that defy what you know of as a theme park attraction. It's the place that you've been waiting for almost 100 years.
So they have that and a 6.5-minute video up on their YouTube channel about this Dark Universe inside of Epic Universe, which that could be confusing from a branding perspective, but that's a bold statement. This is the place you've been waiting for 100 years.
Well, they tried to reboot this. They tried to create this franchise once before. So I don't know if you remember this, but there was a movie came out that was the Mummy movie. And I think it had Brad Pitt in it or something. This was a few years ago. And it was supposed to be the start of a Dark Universe franchise that they were going to build out like the Marvels franchise, because Universal was like, oh, we have the rights to all these old classic horror movies. Let's see if we can string them together into a when the Marvel universe was doing really big. And the idea was, can you create a franchise like this? And the first movie bombed and they never continued with the franchise. But it appears that they are trying to reboot the idea with the park. And I absolutely love it. I would love to go to this.
I think the big thing is that they're trying to embrace their heritage. They talk about that a lot in the 6-minute video, kind of embracing the history of of Universal. And yeah, I'm sure they'll have some movie tie-ins to this as they go along, but they specifically talk about kind of the past, what made Universal Universal. And inside, what we're looking at right here is actually one of the rides. This is supposed to be a super. They use the term "scary ride" to be on in the longer video. This here is like a family-friendly spinning roller coaster, as you can see. But I'll tell you this, man. With everything that's happening between Disney and Universal, this is really good. This is really, really fun. I'm not even a big Universal monster guy, but I'm looking at and now let's be very clear. They have this at dusk, and it's meant to be kind of spooky. Now, realistically, in the middle of a Florida day, it's going to be bright and sunny, and it's not going to have, you won't be able to tell the ambiance like this, but it still looks really, really, really cool. And the one thing that I appreciate most about this is that Universal is embracing what made Universal Universal, whereas Disney is doing the exact opposite, and they're pushing away what made Disney Disney.
So I'm going to jump on that, Craig. I don't know if you guys remember this, but in 2017, when Disney released Star Wars The Last Jedi, Kylo Ren is like, let the past die, kill it if you have to. And here we have Universal Studios embracing their past, their traditions, their IPs, and what made them so big and popular. And I think that the comparison is striking. And I'm very excited for this. I'm not a Monsters person, right? But it looks cool. It seems like they're taking all the high-tech technology of 2024 and combining it with all the stuff from their history and putting it together. And I think it's going to be great.
You guys have been to their Harry Potter park, right?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really reset the standard of what a theme park should be in the 21st century. And when I go back to Disney, after seeing what they did with Harry Potter World, I'm just like, this is boring. This is like a concrete jungle that feels so disconnected. And then, they doubled down on it with a Super Mario World. I haven't seen that personally yet. Have either of you?
No.
Yes.
But it looks like that's what they're trying to do is it continue to expand on that concept, which I think is very right-headed. And Disney tried to do the same thing, but they did it with the Avatar world, which is nobody even watches Avatar. What?
I mean, I hear about Avatar Pandora and all that looks amazing, but I don't know how many people are actually really for that. I don't know how big the audience and target audience is.
The most amazing thing about Avatar is it's the most successful movie ever that nobody cares about, right? Everybody's seen the movie and nobody cares about Avatar, right? They both have destroyed box office things, but I don't think anybody has ever been like, I need to be in the lore of Avatar, right? Nobody cares about that stuff. It's just kind of these blue, weird forest creatures. And apparently they're the second one's really good. I don't know. Haven't seen it because there's not that draw for me to go in it. But I'll say this. I've been to the Avatar place at Disney. It's very cool. At night, I'll say Disney at night is special. They do a very good job of lighting at Disney. I think Disney at night is better than Disney during the day. With that said, the idea of expanding out into this Avatar universe, okay, that's fine. But you're right. Harry Potter is spectacular. It truly is over at Universal.
The detail is so intricate. I mean, even if you just stop and stare and you can see all the stuff that brings it right from the lore of the world. It's wow.
Yeah, it is. And you're the story of why Disney didn't get that contract?
Because they wanted to make it too American. J.K. Rowling said no.
Yeah, so J.K. Rowling was in negotiations with him, and they wanted to. It wasn't just make it American. They wanted to make it like the other parts of their park, have 3 Harry Potter themed rides, and then maybe a store that sells stuff with Harry Potter names on it, right? And J.K. Rowling was like, no, this must be immersive for it to work the way I see it working. And they would not compromise with her on this. And she turned out to be completely correct. And this increases my respect from her a lot. Cause I always say how do you know that something wasn't a one-time fluke in terms of a creative's potential? It's when they have success in unrelated fields. And the fact that she was able to personally, like J.K. Rowling is the reason why Harry Potter world is the way it is. And she went against all of the expert consensus at the time. And that required a great deal of bravery. And it really paid off. And I think she deserves, her personally the credit for that.
She actually just tweeted like the other day. Somebody was like, "Are you going to sell Harry Potter?" Because there was some rumor floating around. She's like, "Absolutely not. It's my baby. I'm never selling." And that to me is like, that's nice. That is someone who respects their lore. I mean, sure, Cursed Child exists. We don't talk about that. She didn't actually write that. We'll pretend she doesn't. Anyway, but yeah, someone actually respects their lore and respects the fans' time, right? If you're going to go to a Harry Potter theme park, you're going to get what you paid for.
I mean, I think the Hong Kong situation, the what happened to Star Wars when it was sold to Disney, this really reminds me of like an analog of what China did when they got Hong Kong. And that's why Taiwan will never be like, oh, we'll join you peacefully now, because they've shown that they won't respect their history and they'll just erase it all.
Well, I love, going back to what I was saying before, I love the idea that they are actually embracing their heritage. And for me, as somebody who grew up with Disney, specifically loved Epcot, to see what they've done with like a character like Figment at Epcot, who anybody who's been to Epcot, anybody who grew up in the 80s, I saw this phenomenal video yesterday from this small creator who did kind of a rundown of Figment in particular over at Disney, and how the original Figment was like this childlike wonder, and the original Dream Master of Figment, the guy that Figment was with, the human character, was meant to be like Santa Claus, and Figment was supposed to be like the kiddos, right? And the childlike wonder associated with that. And Disney like totally moved away from that. And Figment as a whole is like a great metaphor for what's wrong with Disney, and that they're trying to cling on to the past while not nurturing him. They're selling a ton of merchandise still while grabbing onto people's nostalgia, while not doing anything to improve it. And it's exciting to see kind of what's happening with Disney. And I honestly feel that when this park opens here in 2025, I think it's going to do gangbusters. I think it's going to dominate. And the one thing that you heard about Disney for the longest time, their fifth gate, was that this is back when I was like interning in like the year 2000, right? I interned for Disney there. And the one thing that they're going to make a villains park. They're going to make a villains park at Disney. The next park's going to be a villains park. Well, they're doing that at Universal. They beat Disney to the punch. Like that's what these monsters, while they're the bad guys, they talk about in the video that it's about like acceptance, right? And these monsters just want to be accepted and stuff. And they're kind of beating them to the punch, and I love that. I think it's really, really cool. So,
a side note, they haven't actually said when in 2025, have they?
No, but I bet they're not gonna. It'll probably be. If I was to put a time frame on it, no. They'd want to have everything ironed out before the summer. So they'd probably open in after spring break, but before summer, to allow for like a 2-month lead up to iron out all the chaos that's going to happen. That or after summer, leading into the holiday season. So definitely not during summer. The last thing you want to do is open a park during the height of tourism.
That's true.
So
I would say early then, maybe like March.
It depends on how close they are, because there's still a lot to go on this. But I am hyped for this. And next time I go to Orlando, it will not be to go to Disney. It'll be to go to Universal for sure. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on. By the way, this was sent our way. Thank you to Eric for sending this over. This is I have not watched this yet, but apparently this is Arnold Schwarzenegger speaking with with an American accent. Is this right, Blabs? Have you seen this?
Yeah, supposedly it's Terminator 3.
Okay, from which I've seen Terminator 3. Maybe this is just like a hunky-dory over-the-top accent. Let's see what he has to say.
Robots will take their place on the front lines.
Hi, I'm Chief Master Sergeant William Candy. I will be selected by CRS in the ongoing effort.
That ain't authentic at all. That's an accent.
What the hell did you send me, Eric? We've been bamboozled.
That is 100% real. Arnold right there. That's as authentic as me doing Arnold's
That was
accent.
some
right here.
southern thing. A southern drawl.
Southern drawl.
Oh, Eric says keep playing it.
I don't want to get flagged for copyright here.
Oh,
All right,
that's true.
Yeah.
All right.
It's actually kind of interesting. Do we have an actor like him anymore? Like an ultra masculine, famous actor that's in a lot of stuff?
Henry Cavill.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Or The Rock. The Rock would be the closest. He's like the number one actor.
He's not actually like. Listen, for all of his actual biceps and everything, is he really masculine?
The Rock.
Yeah. What do you guys think about this proposed Warhammer project? By the way, that Henry Cavill's.
Oh, that'll be. I think I need more info before even deciding on that.
Yeah, he's the idea of him now. He kind of wants creative control, which I get, or at least he wants to be authentic. So, and then he's a super uber Warhammer fan. So, hey, more power to him. We've seen people hand over power for less. Let's go continue this real quick. Let's see if we'll get flagged for copyright for this. Let's see.
In our power to make war safe, and that is truly priceless.
Okay, that's not even close.
That's
to
like
Arnold
a dub.
Schwarzenegger.
That's somebody's dubbing him.
100%. That's a dub.
Damn
There's
it,
no
Eric.
way.
He says it's a deleted scene from Terminator 3. It should be fine for copyright.
That's fine. That's fine. That doesn't mean it's real at all.
By the way, somebody in the chat said that someone like a super masculine of today would be Jake Gyllenhaal, and I'm sure Craig would agree.
Have you guys seen Jake Gyllenhaal in the new Roadhouse movie? Malcolm, have you seen?
No, I haven't seen this.
Oh my
It's
god!
Craig's background on his PC, his wallpaper.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. Jake Gyllenhaal in Roadhouse, just spectacular. When you look at what he did with his body, surely enhanced by chemicals, I'm going to tell you this right now. He has the God bod. Look at this. I don't know. It
is pretty good.
It's the perfect man body. Like, it's ridiculous. That's all. Like, if you like, and sure, there he spent. The movie studio probably spent tens of thousands of dollars to get there. A strict diet, a strict cocktail of all sorts of things going in his system, and a very hard workout diet. But good God, look at his. That's not even real.
Just admit it's on your wallpaper, and we can move on.
Get a little excited, like just at the prospect of having abs like that. It's like, oh man.
Chat was also saying Tom Hardy. That's true.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and move on if we can from that.
Do you need a moment?
Yeah, just stand by, please. If you recall, earlier this week, we saw a movie poster for the original Full Metal Jacket going on Amazon Prime. And we saw there's a serious edit that happened to it. And that edit, if you recall, was they went in and when it came to the movie poster, they actually removed a very important part of the helmet, which is the text that said "Born to Kill." Now, this is a movie that's built around Vietnam. Malcolm, have you seen Full Metal Jacket before?
Yeah, I have seen Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah. So this was going up on Amazon Prime, and people were like, "Whoa, that's not that's not the movie poster. That's not the artwork associated with it." And they got called out on it. So much so that Amazon has now restored the original artwork on Amazon Prime after it was a little bit of blowback. So I think that's pretty cool. Matthew Modine called out the streaming service for altering the image. So
Amazon has a massive woke problem.
Well, I think the idea of like we've gotten to the point of we can't have text on a movie poster is just insane to me and crazy. But good on Amazon for listening, I guess, and moving away, because hey, why does this need to happen? Because apparently people are so soft they can't handle this stuff.
I love they didn't remove the peace sign. So when you remove the Born to Kill, it's just a helmet with a peace sign on it, which is kind of hilarious given the topic of the movie.
Yeah, and the point of the helmet in the first place. Protect you from bullets and other things because you're at war, but peace sign.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the art originally, as was pointed out in that tweet, was meant to highlight like the duality of man, born to kill with a peace sign next to it. To remove one is to remove the point of the art.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what we're dealing with here. We're censoring art. We're censoring art at this point, and that's where we're at, man. That is where we're at with society. Speaking of art, let's go to TV media here. This is a series. This is a TV show called New Amsterdam. Are you familiar with New Amsterdam? Anybody? Yes.
Yes, I am. So it stars Martha Freeman. She was in Doctor Who. The actress's name is Freema Agyeman. She's actually in this clip. But yes, it's kind of like a Grey's Anatomy, but like a discount version of Grey's Anatomy. It's about doctors in the hospital and all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh my God, this clip was painful.
I mean, this is absolutely fascinating for sure. But
I thought it was a parody when you first sent it to me. I didn't realize it was real.
Well, so the series is over, but they just recently announced that NBC is pursuing a spin-off medical drama for New Amsterdam called New Amsterdam Tomorrow. So this series is done, and this is I don't know this specific episode, but everyone should be aware that you can get a tumor for unbelievable reasons thanks to New Amsterdam. Let's see why. Let's see how this patient's tumor happened. Let's just check this out. This is amazing.
Make yourself comfortable. There's a couch over there.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he's okay. I had Cephas answer some questions from a Harvard test known as unrest. It is designed to measure someone's level of social resistance.
Social resistance.
When people like us oppose the values and policies of the dominant culture.
When people like us.
Yeah, so that's the chick from Doctor Who when Doctor Who was good, by the way.
Okay. Huh. So it's literally an us versus them aspect here, by the way. When people like us. Let's continue on.
And policies of the dominant culture.
That's right.
And what does that have to do
Your
with
son, he feels threatened on a daily basis. Like everything he's earned can just be taken away. He's disenfranchised.
Okay. So he feels threatened. He's disenfranchised, right? And he has a tumor.
Because his life is seemingly free from all this, because he can't name it, he's internalizing it.
Name what?
Racism. I think your son's tumor was caused by racism.
Racism?
I'm sorry.
I got so much racism, I got a tumor from it.
Got a tumor.
The idea that somebody wrote this on a script and it got approved, and that this is not a parody. This is not a parody.
Processed and everything was greenlit.
Yes.
Wow.
And here we go. Once again, this statement alone.
Racism. I think your son's tumor was caused by racism.
Now watch the reaction of this, because I think their reaction is very similar to everyone else's reaction. Just kind of like,
It's so serious. Oh my God, he's telling the truth. We are in fact racist from Tumors.
But also, I think what perhaps to me is even more interesting in this is the way that they're framing their daily life as struggling against the dominant culture, when like DEI is the dominant culture in our society and anyone who's opposing it is seen as the enemy. And that they're fighting this daily struggle that's so hard that you could just lose everything for being Black in today's society. Like the level of delusion that you would have to have.
Right. And well, and never mind.
You can get fired for people finding out that you donated to Trump or something like that. You can't get fired for being black anymore. Even legally you can't, but not even that. Like, just the dominant cultural value system is so antagonistic to that.
Let's bring this back to Arnold. At one point, we thought that he may have had a tumor as well, and it's important to note.
It's not a tumor.
Sorry, I just had to pull that.
I saw that in the chat. It's not a tumor. I just think of the Family Guy. I'm a tumor. 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 I'm a tumor.
If you really look at this and you want to analyze this a little bit, which we will because we're here talking about this, I would just like to point out, once again, the doctor is a white male here, analyzing here, describing the racism of, and I'm going to say right here, is this I don't know if she is a white woman or potentially Latina.
I think
heritage.
Latina.
We do not see the boy.
I could actually see him at the beginning of the shot. It looks like he's black.
Ooh, all in the family.
See,
That
right
can't
there.
be. Well,
Oh, maybe the father's black, so he's mixed or something. Who knows?
hold on. That's the boy with
Yeah, I
this
think
tumor.
so.
With the tumor.
Oh my gosh! So wait, so are they admitting that that black people can be racist against white people? Are they admitting it? Wow! And I'm
This
sorry.
show just became based all of a sudden.
No. He's got the tumor because he experienced so much racism. That's what they're claiming on the show. That he's
No.
living in an environment that's so racist that it created a tumor in him.
What?
That's what the show is saying. He didn't get the tumor because he was racist against other people. He got the tumor because he was and this is also made clear when the black doctor lady was saying people like us to the mom, because she was implying us, meaning black people in this context, that their very lives are an act of resistance is what's being implied here. And I absolutely love, I want to think of an alternate reality where people could get tumors from racism. And it's do you know how many slaves would have been dying? When there was
Who would have none left?
racism?
It was amazing.
Okay, so this totally flips it on his head, because I was thinking that because some I was thinking some good old boy from Alabama's sitting there in the hospital right there with a tumor sticking out the side of his head over here.
No. I understood it like Malcolm did.
Oh wow. Okay, that flips it on my head, on his head right now. The idea that he got a tumor because other people were mean to him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also, no, you can further it on, because if his father or whoever is also of mixed race or whatever, then you can say, hey, this is pretty base, because now you're saying the mixed race is racist against this other guy.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. It's all of a sudden it's based now. Okay.
I also love that this concept that he wouldn't know what racism is. He grew up in 2024 and he experienced racism and didn't know what to call it.
This is crazy. I can't believe Blab, see if you can find the actual episode when that aired for New Amsterdam and the racist tumor. I'd really like that. That's like a subtitle for the show: New Amsterdam and the racist tumor. Oh my God, this is entertainment, and I'm gonna guess this was a byproduct of the 2020 Summer of Love and the reckoning associated with that, because that was a big thing for a long time. You saw these people write things after that were all systematic oppression and blah 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 blah. And by the way, we're gonna get to this song here in a little bit. I use that term loosely.
Okay, so I found it. So the episode is from season 2, episode 14, Sabbath. Someone call Razor Fist. But I actually found we don't have to play this obviously, but this is the boy right there. So that's him.
Hold on, I need this full screen real quick.
Aha.
Oh wow, so he's got the tumor. Okay.
That's Stash though. Anyway.
Yeah. Maybe that's where it's coming from. Those sweet teenage mustache right there. Nice.
Matuma.
I hope we can all move past that. The answer is probably not, but that's okay.
No.
Holy bejesus. That's amazing. Just absolutely amazing. Well, thank you for that, New Amsterdam, for your highlighting all the important things in society. So you said that was season 2?
Yes.
So that was in 2019. That was before
2018, apparently.
Okay, that's before things truly went off the rails, which wow, absolutely crazy. All right, speaking of off the rails, let's go to our next.
Sorry, go on.
Let's go to our next talking point today. As hey, Star Wars, huh? Star Wars, eh? I always feel like I need to preface this. I'm not a Star Wars fan. I don't really care about Star Wars. It's not really a thing, and I don't anticipate ever really getting into Star Wars. With that said, the lead actress of the new Acolyte series has released a new music video, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody here has seen this? Yes?
Unfortunately, yes.
It is, yeah. Oh my gosh.
And I feel like we should probably watch it in its entirety. Do you think we should watch the whole thing? Have you seen the entire thing?
Yeah, you guys, you sent me this clip beforehand, and you preface it with like the head of Star Wars is complaining about being like discriminated against in a song, and here I am thinking like it's one line in the song or something like that. You know, no, it's the entire thing, and throughout the entire song, just for humor's sake, before it's played, she's like doing like sexy dances while giving a lecture on like systemic oppression. Yeah, it is the most wild thing I've ever seen.
Well, here we go.
We're gonna play the whole thing. Do we really want to torture everybody?
Okay, we'll play this small clip on there. It's just about 90 seconds, but it gives you the rundown here of kind of what it's about. So here's
Wow, what
just
a great frames for that. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a small.
Harvey Weinstein. Anybody? Anyway, continue.
There we go.
And now you're listening. I'm gonna tell you something fascinating.
Pay attention to the words on the bottom. Malcolm's literally laughing right now.
But she's sitting there like doing sexy dances in front of like it feels disrespectful to like even like the cause of like civil rights to me. I like imagine like a Martin Luther King in the background or something, and then in front of him is just like a bunch of like sexy women twerking. Like, oh my gosh, the Boondocks episode where Martin Luther comes back. I don't know if you guys saw that one, but this gives me hard vibes from that.
This chick gave that kid the tumor.
It's not a tumor. They're throwing tomatoes at the screen. Oh, that's horrible. Oh, stop, guys. Come on now.
You know, it's actually funny because she's in there, and there's one thing that I can actually agree with is that kids aren't trusting anything, and the journalists are not telling the truth anymore, and that's kind of true.
Hey,
she's right about that. They're not telling the truth.
Imagine being a leftist and like thinking the media is against you.
Right?
I know, it's amazing. It's amazing. Hey, how old is this actress, Blabs?
She was born in 1998, so she would be 2 years younger than me, so 26.
Okay, so she's 25, 26 years old. Let's go and hear this last chorus here really quick, and then we'll see exactly kind of what happens and where this goes, because this is where things could really hit.
I'm gonna get to my spirit, but I'm sick and fucking tired of suppressing my rage. 400 years of taking the bullshit.
Do you know she's been taking this for 400 years, by the way?
She looks great for her age.
Great.
She should be just bones and like withering away, but you go, girl. What's your skincare routine? Let me know.
Here we go.
No, she does have great skin.
Oh,
I think she's gorgeous. Like we were saying backstage, guys, she is gorgeous. It's just a shame that the only thing redeeming about her is her looks.
Well, as beautiful as she is, she's that ugly. That's the most amazing thing about it is she's just so ugly when it comes to all this stuff. I'm sick and effing tired of suppressing my rage. 400 years of taking their beat. You know, like I'm censoring myself because I have kids. To compartmentalize like my ancestors had to encage. If you don't confront the pain that you live with,
It'll manifest as addiction, diseases, and hate. I've seen the infection repression can give you. I'm not going to be the next one sent to an early grave. So there we go. That's it. That's what we're dealing with right here. So congratulations to her for not suppressing her rage. By the way, and I asked Blabs to do some hard-hitting journalism before the show, just to get to know who this person is. Who is this lead actor? Amandla Stenberg, by the way, the traditional African name of Stenberg.
Mm-hmm.
And the sweet culture. So, Blabs, you actually had a really good tweet about this. Why don't you share your thoughts on this?
All right, I'm going to full screen myself so I can read that. Okay, so I tweeted this out this morning saying, I'm confused. This woman is twerking about being oppressed. Meanwhile, she's literally starring in Star Wars show. She's a millionaire times 2. She has a net worth of $2 million, by the way, guys. I'm white and don't have a net worth of $2 million. Can I call oppression now? Sorry, I won't be twerking though. Never have and never will. So yeah, I won't be twerking. And she's oppressed with $2 million in her pocket.
Well, and keep in mind, she is, talking about her ancestors and everything like this. As you found, she's half black. Her dad is a Danish guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, we actually have photos to prove it.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. And this is from Mark with a C over on X. Blabs, go to read this off.
So this is Mark. Check him out, guys. So the biracial bisexual chick from that gay Star Wars show that everyone's hate promoting for clicks drops a conveniently timed music video taunting fans, and this is the part where everyone runs to do videos about it and shares the link so her video goes viral. That about right? Correct. This is all a circle. This is how it works. I mean, we're literally answering Mark right now. We're talking about her in a video, so yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's 100% true. But she's also this was her idea. She wanted this.
Well, I mean,
1,000%.
And I should point out, not just it was also an incredibly misogynistic episode. One of the things I was mentioning before the show was there's this line in the episode that just everyone ignored, which was the two lesbians are arguing over who should get first authority as a parent. And one goes, I carried the kid. And then the other one goes, I created the kid. Which implies that women only carry the child and the man creates the life. And on top of that, because of that, the man should have all final decisions when parenting, which is just like incredibly misogynistic.
Well, yeah, and that was very much overlooked by a lot of folks here. Let's go and get into Amandla, and let's do a little research about how, rightfully so, ladies and gentlemen, she is oppressed in a major way. Just forget the idea that she's in the starring role, and she got the role without an audition. By the way, pretty oppressive.
I didn't know that. But I want to point out she was also in the Hunger Games.
Okay, with a net worth of $2 million, courtesy of CelebrityNetWorth.com. Which that may be off. I'm sure it may be off, but she's we're talking about someone who's the star of a major franchises show, not just the star times 2, by the way, playing two roles in it, right? This is her mother here. Her mother, Babs, how about you guide us through your research here?
All right. So her mother is named Karen Brailsford. She is an African-American spiritual counselor. And that's what she looks like.
Mean? What does that mean?
Sounds like some type of a historical thing, preserving historical stuff. I'm assuming. I don't really know what a spiritual counselor is. Maybe they're in the room with me right now. I don't know. But moving right along to that, her father is named Tom Sternberg. That's him.
Okay. I mean,
so I don't understand this whole oppression thingy about going on right now. And I want to point out, go on, Craig.
This has a very Kaepernick feel to it.
Yes, you are correct. Yeah.
The whole Colin Kaepernick thing where he's like, biracial, but it's like, I'm black when I need to be type of thing, white when I don't need to be. What were you gonna say, Malcolm?
I can say, looking at this woman, that she has never been denied an opportunity in her life because of how she looks. This woman won the genetic lottery, and in a time when she could exploit that as well. Like, I don't even think that and this is why she needs to sort of retail in the currency of the oppression of her ancestors, because she is so divorced from any actual experience of oppression. And yet she's from a cultural group which associates an individual's moral worth with how much oppression they have experienced, and the individual's ability to sort of talk over people or have their experiences and perspectives supersede others in a multi-person conversation, based on this the term that everyone uses is oppression Olympics. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. She would get along really well with Freckled Jesus.
Freckled Jesus.
Yeah, the ginger chick who was in Captain America, and the Winter Falcon, that stupid Disney Plus show. She was in Star Wars. She played whatever the hell, I don't even remember her name. She was in a lot of stuff. She was in the new season of Willow, everything, and she's in his flop. She's a big Disney chick. Yeah, Freckled Jesus. I don't remember her name, but she's basically a black chick, but she's also ginger. So she's a very, very like mixed, right? So she and yeah, I don't remember her name, but she would get perfectly along with Amandla.
I do really want to key in on the oppression that she feels consistently as we go back and we actually look at her body of work, thanks to IMDb. Here, as you can see, she's 25 years old, right? And she's been working consistently. She's been grasping through the oppression consistently. She's been making her way despite the oppression for the last 14 years, since she was 11 or 12 years old. Right here, you can see the entire line of work here that she has done consistently working in Hollywood, despite all the insanity that she has felt in her life. Good Lord, look at the impression. And here she is with her big break, her major break, obviously, The Acolyte being the star. As you mentioned, I'd say her big starring adult role with The Acolyte.
There was that movie that she was in called The Hate That You Give, which is kind of like, that was that whole viral video that went around saying, oh, this movie was made to make white people uncomfortable. That was kind of like, I think, her peak of explosion.
That's literally the point of the story of the rap. That's why she wrote the rap, was the viral clip that was put around there. And that's the first verse of the video, which we did not share. But hey, good on Amandla for fighting through the oppression and being so successful despite the man constantly holding her down. Way to go, Amandla.
I kind of want to further on like her heritage here, because she's crying and screaming about oppression, but her grandmother is from Greenland during the Danish colonial times, and her grandmother was a radio personality / singer from Denmark who actually sang in the World's Fair in 1964 in New York. So talk about oppression when you're actually singing in a big ass fair like that, right?
Wait, hold on, just to further something Malcolm said. So she wins the genetic lottery. She's absolutely beautiful, right? We're talking about a beautiful woman here who has talent literally flowing through her veins, right? When it comes to the ability to sing and act, and she has everything going for her. She has parents who grew up, relatives in the entertainment industry, right? Who clearly have connections, who may or may not have helped out along the way, right? And despite all that, the oppression that she's felt, she's still been successful. Way to go, Amandla. Way to go. Go ahead. By the way,
I'd also love to elevate here 2 points. One is I'm actually glad to see this, because The Acolyte is burning up on re-entry right now. Everyone knows it's terrible, and it could really damage the careers of a lot of actors involved in it. So it's glad to see that this isn't happening to a good person, because actors can have viewpoints that are different from, I am sad to see the Squid Games guy. He seems like he's probably a righteous dude getting attached to this, for example, but at least we know the lead, deserves everything that's going to come in terms of the fallout of the Acolyte debacle. The second is, and I want to elevate this, is while we can look at people who play these sorts of cheat codes to, build systemic advantage over other people and then gloat about it, history is not going to see the type of stuff she's doing. Somebody who's clearly in an advantaged societal position, pretending that she wasn't, history is going to look really critically at individuals like this. And people like her are almost never really happy with their lives in the moment because they need to feel the oppression, to like, I believe that she genuinely believes that she's living in this world of like constant oppression because she is reflecting that emotional state back upon herself to justify her immoral actions. And so, she hasn't won anything. Like, I don't think anyone should envy her for her money or anything like that. This is a person who very likely has lots of mental health issues as a result of this, is unfulfilled, likely won't find a partner, despite having everything going for them.
Funny you should say partner, but Craig, you are muted.
To further this home, though, with this goes back. This is an article from 2015. I don't know if you recall this or not. Blabs, walk us through this article. This is from when she was 16 years old.
Yes. Okay. So everyone's aware of Kylie Jenner. You know who she is. We don't have to just go into that discourse. So Kylie Jenner apparently styled her hair with cornrows, which is, the really, really tight braids and things. And Amandla wasn't having it whatsoever. And she was basically calling this woman out, saying this is cultural appropriation, racism, blah, 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 blah. And I think it's very hypocritical when Amandla isn't even fully black. Right? So it's like, and why can't anyone style their hair the way they want to? Right? Vikings had all these braids and everything too, right? So this isn't cultural appropriation when everybody under the sun can braid their hair.
Well, here's
white girls do it better.
Yeah.
Wow.
Read this off really quick.
All right. It says, when you appropriate Black features and culture, but fail to use your position of power to help Black Americans by directing attention toward your wigs instead of police brutality or racism, #white girls do it better. So, yeah, she's a little racist, even though she's half white.
Jenner came back and said, mad if I don't, mad if I do, go hang with Jaden or something. She was dating Jaden Smith, just to kind of put this in perspective.
She went to prom with Jaden Smith.
Right.
Oh, and that's why she was in Neo Yokio. Okay, a bit of backstory. When you were scrolling through her IMDb, I noticed that one of her early roles was in a show called Neo Yokio, which was an anime parody that Jaden Smith made and was on Netflix. And so it looked like that might have been part of how she got her break, literally sleeping with the producer.
Nice.
There you go. 2017, right there. Yep. Hey, despite all that, despite being
kicking it,
despite, and that's the thing. We're looking at this all wrong, guys. We're looking at this all wrong, right? Despite being beautiful, despite having a history of family who have tremendous talent, despite having a family being born into money, despite running in a circle that allows you to date Will Smith's kids, despite going to prom with them, despite all this, guys, she's made it, and she's made it to Star Wars, despite all that oppression. Good on her. Good on her. Congratulations, Amandla. Way to go.
Amandla. You gotta say it that way. Amandla.
We're all proud of you. Congratulations on it. And your song really hit to the heart of the issue and all this. And we're thankful for your voice.
It's as if she lives with like negative levels of gratitude towards her position in life. Which, God, I can't imagine.
We're not done yet, though. Can I continue my deep dive, Craig?
Yes, please, Blabs.
Okay. So obviously I did a lot of research on this woman. So back in January of 2016, she came out as bisexual and pansexual, later stating that both of them were basically the same. And then she
how dare her?
Whoa, that's pretty transphobic.
Yeah, she said it was like the same. She equates them to being the same thing. Whatever. So she'll fuck with Pan, I guess.
Okay. Sorry, I have to go into Tumblr culture translation here. Historically speaking, people might not know that there was actually a controversy around bisexuality and pansexuality. And to Tumblrinas, bisexual meant that you were only attracted to two genders, i.e. bi. And so you weren't attracted to, for example, you could be attracted to intersex people and like male people, or like demi males and males, and you'd be counted as bisexual. But if you were what historically bisexual meant basically attracted to both people who present as male or female. You were supposed to say pansexual or you were transphobic. Anyway, sorry.
Well, let me correct myself a little bit, because she says, I'm double checking this. She says she came out as bisexual, then she subsequently said that pansexual was an accurate term as well. So she's basically saying she's both, but you can't be both then.
You know, I'm gonna retract what I said. I can no longer support her for the blatant hate that she feels in her heart, and the phobia that she feels. I'm sorry, I can no longer support this woman after.
There's only two genders.
I mean, unreal, really. It's I'm quite upset right now. I don't even know where to go with this anymore. I'm sorry, Blabs, continue.
Well, like, she continues on stating that later on, then she becomes non-binary, and her pronouns are she, her, and they, them. So that's nothing. And then in June of 2018, she came out as gay.
Okay.
So I'll be honest, I think this woman's very confused, because she's like, woo, all over the spectrum. Yes.
You think so?
But it continues on. So in 2020, she obtained her Danish citizenship, because remember, her family is of Danish heritage. So I find that funny, because what's the population in the history of the Danish people? Mostly white. So ironic how all of a sudden she's now oppressed. And she is apparently an intersectionalist feminist. She was originally supposed to go to university, but then she dropped out to pursue her career. And honestly, why wouldn't you when you're making all this money? So can't fault her for that. That's basically it. Oh, and she walked away from the role of Shuri in Black Panther. She apparently was offered that role, or like was going to take that role, but she decided she wasn't fit for it and didn't play the role of Shuri. Yeah.
Well, as I've said, despite all of her hardships, she's still been able to become a multimillionaire by the age of 25. And I think that we should all stand up and applaud her bravery and the amount of I'm sorry, I can't continue. That's I couldn't even get through it anymore. I'm sorry.
My brain hurts.
I mean, the one of the positive things about this is we are likely going to be the last generation that has to deal with people like this, because their fertility rate is super low. We actually have an episode coming out on this, and a lot of people were like, oh, historically, Democrats must have always converted people, and that's how they maintain their numbers. But no, historically speaking, until the 90s, Democrats and Republicans had about the same fertility rate. And 70% of the way people vote is the way their parents vote. So, with people like this removing themselves from the gene pool, my kids won't have to deal with this. So we can just bear through it with that knowledge.
Well, hopefully there's something to bear through here if we can make it another 20 years. I'm just saying.
We do have a special guest, Anne Hathaway.
Gentle
good.
them.
This is basically the audience. Yay!
Thanks, Anne. Appreciate it. Look at me. There it is right there.
Same thing.
Wow. Well, I'm like I said, I can't stress it enough. I'm so proud of her bravery and pointing out the oppression that she's felt her entire career.
And something I'd highlight here, because some people might think that like people like us are being hyperbolic when we talk about, like actual oppression. I just this morning had an executive recruiter who wanted me to run a large foundation based on my resume, but then she found out I was publicly, famously conservative, and she goes, "I'm sorry, we can't have you take this role because you're a conservative and you can't run a foundation." Basically, it was an educational nonprofit. And I'm like, well, I run an educational nonprofit. But she's like, yeah, but not, this one. And so I think that people may not fully contextualize it. People really are losing jobs. We had a donation that was going to go to us, $1 million for one of our companies, not a donation. What am I looking for? An investment, be pulled because we're publicly conservative.
I talked about this. I talked about this a few weeks ago on the show. Back in 2020, I had a opportunity that I was passed on because I was white, and they literally said that it was a Canadian company, and with some of the things that are happening with Canada, like people like, you should sue. But I went to a lawyer to talk to him about it, and he's like, dude, listen, you're white, it's not going to happen, right? But they very clearly said that. But now some people said I should absolutely go back and explore it again with another lawyer now that it's a little bit of time has been given.
Yeah, I actually heard under the table because my original goal in life was to become a professor. That's what I wanted to do. And I had worked my way up where I should have been able to apply at Stanford for the professorship. And I was actually told under the table by somebody who worked there, there's actually a hiring freeze on white male professors who were coming in the pathway I was coming in. So you could still work your way up if you went directly through the PhD, but if you were coming from being a successful business manager into the school, no, complete hiring freeze on white males. And so you do see this. And even recently, we had a couple projects. I won't do the NDAs and stuff, talk about the studios that did this, but we had a project that had been greenlit on our family, like a Tech Elite Tiger King project. That had been greenlit by the creatives at 2 different studios, and then was killed by legal at both studios. The argument that they used for the canceling of it was the spanking incident, the corporal punishment incident that we went viral for a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, this is insane. The majority of American families use corporal punishment. Like what's really being done here is these lawyers are able to just shut projects down without any concern because they are not rewarded or punished based on any sort of external metrics, which is just absolutely wild. And I think that the lawyer departments at a lot of these companies are where a lot of this bigotry is coming from.
It's deep, man. It's deep. It's deep in there, and it's it's almost like there should be a solution. Somebody to come in and clean house. Just saying.
Yeah, we've been talking about starting a company to together to do that. So we'll see if we can put that together, have that do the press cycle.
Just give you guys a heads up. Like Malcolm and I are talking about literally launching that company that we talked about, the anti-DEI, anti-Sweet Baby Inc.
DEI remediation type.
I have one more thing on Amandla.
Oh yes, please.
This was her caption. Thanks to Nina for pointing this out. She says, "With intolerable racism." And Nina questions, what's tolerable racism? But it's true. It's like, isn't racism all of it intolerable? You shouldn't be a racist.
Wow.
Apparently, it's intolerable racism. Anyway.
I think that the men or bears meme that went around recently shows how sort of bigoted mainstream society has gotten and why she feels emboldened to do this stuff, where they would go around, and I'm sure you guys covered this, and they'd ask random women, would you rather be in the woods with a random man or a bear? And in our channel, what we did is we just interspersed the term black man wherever they asked, would you rather be in the woods with a random black man or a bear? And then showed their answers. Because I was like, you need to understand there are forms of bigotry in our society that have been normalized. And that if you said this tied to anything that isn't under this protection, you would hear how insanely bigoted their actions have gotten, like mainstream society, and that they feel emboldened to talk about men like this. Is absolutely, like, we should see it for what it is, which is bigotry.
It is it'll be an ongoing cycle from now till forever. It's going to happen. Someone's always feeling oppressed for whatever reason. You guys have been great today.
Yeah.
Thank you guys very much for your support. I did want to point out that a bucket of sea man came in with the equivalent of a $100 super chat. And here I thought no one could top Rachel Zegler, but here we are. Hey, you know what? Look at that. Look at that. That'll help you with your bucket. Help you fill up your bucket a little bit there, bud. Gross. Thank you so much.
What is this? What is the boobs? I don't understand.
Titties.
Blabs.
Right. So there was the way you say that is just an odd thing to say. Anyway, so there was a chick on the internet who was talking about how she was saying her boobs just jiggle. Anything she does makes them wiggle and jiggle and jiggle. And obviously those are fake, made to jiggle like that, right? So she'll just be moving her hand like this and they'll just be bouncing all over the place. So she made a whole video about this. And so I clipped it and put boobies next to each other for your viewership.
Hold on. Let's be very clear about this. You think that these are fake?
Oh yeah. I feel like if I put a needle to them, they'll go
okay. All right.
And fluid will come out.
All right. Just curious. Sack of silicone. I'm not the expert here. I don't know. So this is what it is. Hey, Ian also came in with 10 gifted memberships. Ian, thank you so much for that. That is incredibly generous. That's spectacular. And if you guys got a gifted membership, make sure you guys say thank you. Consider paying it forward.
Absolutely spectacular stuff right there. I'm going to put bucket on the wall as well. Just bucket, by the way, not the rest of
Chat's
your
telling
name.
me it's real. No way are those real, guys. Come on. They can't be real. Look at them. No way.
Listen, I feel maybe we need to do a little more research on it. Maybe reach out to her and find out.
I tried to find her information. I have it actually on the guest list and everything, but I couldn't find a whole lot.
I think those are real Blabs.
You think so? Really?
Yeah, I do.
No way.
Yeah.
This is like Boob 101 research here. I wish I could pause this. I could just stare.
This is why you guys watch this show. We get to the hard hitting issues of oppression and natural beauty. As Malcolm's
no
like,
one's saying she's. Listen, guys, if they are real, power to her. Power to her if those are real. Like, awesome. But I have to think they're fake. No way. They're huge. Good for her if they're real.
Congratulations.
She wins the internet.
No joke. All right. We have some breaking news that just came down the pipe. Labs, why don't you it's kind of sad news, if you would.
Yeah, so speaking of the Hunger Games, Donald Sutherland has passed away, guys, at the age of 88.
Oh, bummer.
88, man. 88.
He's a great actor. Bye, Craig.
Speaking of the Hunger Games, my wife watching the Acolyte recently was like, they're trying to make these shows for women and they don't understand what women want. She's like, what women want is a show that's just the Capitol and the Hunger Games.
Just the Capitol. That's it.
just the Capitol and the drama that goes on in the Capitol. And I'm like, that's not even what women want. That's what I want. I want a show that is a
soap opera of the Capitol.
Soap opera at the Capitol, the Hunger Games.
Well, like the Hunger Games, there's more stuff coming out. They announced like another book. The author Suzanne Collins, I think her name is, announced another book the other day, and they announced another movie in the Hunger Games franchise. So obviously they're not gonna have Donald Sutherland in them, but he dies anyway. Spoiler alert. So
sad day. Well, now he's gone in real life. Rest in peace, Donald. You will be missed.
It's a shame. He was a great actor.
All right, Blabs, why don't you take us through some of this support we've seen today over here on the Super Chat side?
All right, so let me hit up the one on Locals. And Locals was actually sharing an image. And so let's see. So this is from Mojo. And Mojo says, just got this yesterday. Tell me again why piracy is bad. If they can change the terms after the sale, why can't we? Just email them our terms instead. I mean, why not? No, you're absolutely correct. This is like the Helldivers 2 situation all over again, where they are not allowed to play Helldivers in certain countries that don't have a PlayStation Network, even though they originally were before, and now they can't play anymore. So their game is basically stolen from them.
Did they backtrack on that, or did they not backtrack on that?
They didn't really backtrack on it. They said that then everyone celebrated, and it was a total lie. So there's that. All right, let us hit up the YouTube side. So Mike has bad knees. Member for 9 months says, how often are people surprised to see that Malcolm Collins isn't a black guy?
Very actually. So this is a funny thing that has happened to me a few times in my life. When I was at Stanford Business School, people always confused me with a black guy. Like I frequently get confused in people's memories with a black guy because I guess my name is so black sounding.
Funny, all the Malcolms I know in real life are white. So it's only the ones on like, the celebrities and all that are black. But every single Malcolm I've ever met has been a white dude. So to each their own, I guess. Lord Spleech, member for 14 months, says, fun fact, Ming-Na Wen, Chun Li, got her Hollywood star on a Walk of Fame on Tuesday. I like how he says got his. Ming-Na Wen is a beautiful woman. Thank you very much. But good for her. She's a great actress. Mulan, everybody. St. G says, next time Blabs watch along, Street Fighter 1994. There's so many movies. Peter says, so lactose intolerant people should not watch a Street Fighter movie. Thanks, Peter. Minor says, what's pineapple normal men? No pineapple on pizza, bro. Art says, speaking of the Street Fighter movie and cheese, you should watch a Chinese knockoff, Future Cops. It's batshit crazy.
Oh, I'll check that out.
Never heard of it. Thanks, Art. I am the Icarus says, look what our front man sent on Twitter. Street Fighter movie, Bison Box. Thank you, I am the Icarus. Peter says, if possible, I'd like to see you guys talk to AVGN about the Dark Universe if he is interested. All right, considered. Thank you. Ryan says, who knew the Gimp from Pulp Fiction was a Sith? Are they serious with that outfit? Thanks, Ryan. Anzac says, howdy, y'all. Hey. Dwight says, the Mortal Kombat movie soundtrack was next level. We should do that one day.
Yes. Oh, that was
talk
so,
about soundtracks of films and stuff and video games. Or I feel like you have to do two different things.
Have you seen the original Mortal Kombat?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Listen, man, we're writing these things down. Original Street Fighter. Let's see, Street Fighter.
The Reptile theme and the main theme were the two really good ones from that movie.
Those would be great to watch with you on Local Labs.
Yeah.
With all due respect to Bring It On, we should definitely have you watch Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat.
I want to watch Bring It On first. That's my terms.
Nope.
Good luck. Peter says, and people wonder why network television is dying. Correct. The Worthy One says, y'all forgot Jason Statham.
Statham. Yep.
Statham. What did we forget? Oh, in the movie?
Yeah, Movie Heroes Today. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, he's still like, he's been like a movie hero of 20 years. I'm saying like currently in the last few years. I would argue.
Yeah.
Protrubed Alpaca says, indeed, Rayson got grandma, not breast cancer. That's awful. Max says, I'm waiting for the Law and Order episode where Jerry looks at the body, then at the camera and quips, I guess he wasn't a king and shit after all. Thanks, Max. I Am Dicker says, should we cover this song? I feel like you could probably make it better than what it is. And mind you, I think that Tug's Life said it perfectly on Twitter. I am glad the subtitles existed because I couldn't understand a word she was saying. It's true. She was like whispering. She's like, how the hell are we supposed to understand you? Anyway. Fetch Quest Gaming says, what oppression. She's a mixed race chick from Cali. I'm black and quite frankly, I'm sick of seeing this crap.
Thanks, Fetch Quest. Appreciate it.
Aaron,
Hey.
because of all... Oh, yeah.
Real quick, and this goes to the last Master Gawa says Project Veritas just exposed Disney's discrimination. I had that pulled up. It's 20 minutes long. Do y'all want to watch it together? Because I think like
I'd be open to do that. Yeah, the Disney discrimination stuff is insane. Like we now know that specifically she had a disproportionate advantage because of her ethnicity.
Chat, are you guys willing to stick with us as we watch this? Because it's 21 minutes, and they'll be stopping and starting along the way. But it'll extend the show out. You guys, if you're willing to watch it, just hang with us. So.
Yeah, let me read all these super chats first because they're off on the previous topic.
Yeah, please.
Aaron says, because of all the oppression, I'm not concerned that Amandla Stenberg may have a tumor.
Not a tumor.
Matt says, started modeling at 4, then worked for Disney, and the Acolyte role was made for her and handed to her on a silver platter. I wish I was as pressed as her. Exactly. Aaron says, I suspect that Amandla suffers from half white guilt. Probably.
Only half.
Kyle Denson, so a black woman can wear a weave that culture appropriates European women, but roles reversed, it's bad. Sorry, YouTube won't let me say the color of the dot. That's weird. But thank you, Kyle. Weird censorship from YouTube, but not surprising. Crazy says Amandla is attracted to pans. Correct.
Right.
She likes the kitchen. Careful. Hide your knives.
That's actually a good dad joke.
Mustagawa says Law and Order SVU has an actual literal Gamergate episode called Intimidation Game. Search for Gamergate the movie and you'll find YouTube bits from it. Yes, I think we talked about that once with Dev.
We did, yeah. We talked about it probably 6 months ago. It was great.
Rob on Wheels says she's nothing more than a flippin' clout chaser. Yes.
Yep.
And Mustagawa says PV Disney tapes bodes well for Craig's lawsuit.
Yeah, and you're speaking of Project Veritas, but it's no longer Project Veritas. It's James O'Keefe and he has this thing called OMG Media now, but it's the same thing, just James O'Keefe. Let me read these off really quick. Delta says, with the 5 says, I popped in late for Disney Talk. Don't know if you mentioned their long-term plan, which is to give up on Western parks, add 3 cruise ships, and focus on 2 parks in China instead. I await Disney's final nail in the coffin when China invades Taiwan. I haven't heard anything about them and just giving up on Western parks, considering that's their moneymaker. But Shell Beach says you're both wrong. They're just trying to call white people cancer. Speaking of the clip that we saw earlier. So over on Rumble, thank you guys very much for your support. Shane came in with the 10. Says, hey Blabs, you need to. We talked about that with the Scrooge McDuck. Yes. B Barrett says the DuckTales theme gave me a headache. It's not a tumor. Siver says, please make the leftist white savior fantasy racism tumor a clip ASAP. I want to share that far and wide. That'll be clipped today for sure, and put on the show. Old School Gamer came in with a $20 Rumble rant. Says, why do millionaire actors act like they're oppressed? I don't know. It's a reoccurring theme. For sure. Dude came in, says, the music video gave me cancer. Well, at least didn't give you a tumor. Lone Wolf says, surprised she's not dancing in front of a mural of George Floyd. And Shane came in with the 5, says, too bad the Force couldn't help her with vocal talent. Correct.
It's like for someone who has, the relatives of singing.
Yes.
She's not that great in that actual video because, again, like she's whispering and no one understood what she was saying without subtitles.
Mimic said, you are your own oppressor. Yep. He followed up and says, you ever notice how the people screaming around cultural appropriation don't have a problem eating tacos, spaghetti, pizza, or Chinese food? Abomination says, wait, you can't just end it like that. Blabs just disrespected her boobs. now you have to have her on her show to defend herself. Blabs should be ashamed of herself.
I didn't disrespect. I literally said if they're real awesome, she wins.
Good for you. Magna Defender says, Craig, how the F is Games Done Quick still a business? They've been NPC Central for years, but still get 100K viewership. On the plus side, Games Done Quick is similar, and similar events encourage me to touch grass. Great question. The reason that they are is that people still like to see very cool things done in video games. That's how. It doesn't have necessarily to do with pronouns or the craziness of people. If people can accomplish fun things, people want to see those fun things, and that's how it's still the novelty aspect of it. All right, this just dropped, and we usually go about this time length, but we're going to extend this out a little bit because this just dropped from Disney and or from James O'Keefe, and nobody's seen this, so we're going to react to this in real time. James O'Keefe over on X says, breaking, senior vice president at the Walt Disney Company details discriminatory hiring practice. This is a senior vice president. Nobody else is going to tell you this, but they're not considering any white males for the job, says Michael Giordano, the vice president of business affairs. There's no way we're hiring a white male. Giordano reveals Disney used code words and buzzwords to avoid legal action, and even mentions a candidate being rejected for not looking black enough. My God. Giordano also admits Disney gives bonuses to executives for practicing DEI, agreeing that, quote, diversity helps with financial incentives. Giordano further claims that he's been denied promotions due to his race. This is a multiple part series here. All right. So this is 21 minutes long. We'll watch this in like time and a quarter here to kind of speed it up a little bit. Is everybody ready for this?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Let's see what we got. At any time, you guys just tell me to stop and we'll stop.
Certainly, there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male.
Just kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
how would they say it?
There's no way we're hiring a white male in this role. They say,
like straight to you, or okay?
They'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
Let's go back here. I want to see his title real quick.
They say,
like straight to you, or okay?
Senior Vice President and Team Lead, 20th Television, the Walt Disney Company. Okay. I mean, that's crazy. The fact that they would just straight out say it like that.
Okay. They'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
According to these videotapes, Disney blatantly discriminates against whites, white men in particular.
I think I'm sort of like well prepared for it. I'm well positioned for it. But as far as Disney's concerned, I'm a white male. That's not who they're looking to promote them.
As a white guy, even Michael has his own doubts about the possibility for advancement for himself at Disney. In fact, Michael actually got to experience Disney's discrimination against white males firsthand.
I've been at the company for 11 years now, so I have friends in HR and I have friends in those divisions, and they're like, look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for the shop. They're just not.
Why doesn't he quit and just straight up file a lawsuit? I mean, I guess it's hearsay.
You think he would win? I don't think so at all.
I mean, it's discriminatory, right?
Yeah, but this is in the California court system, right? Like white people do they genuinely have like a ethno class system there? I mean, I think that's really what's going on with this cultural appropriation, because everybody knows like she can appropriate whatever she wants. She means one specific group in society has extra and additional rules attached to them. And I think it's the same with this stuff.
Let's go and continue.
They even passed over a qualified half-black person for a promotion because they didn't look black enough.
We wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago now, who was half black, but didn't like appear half black. And there was a creative executive who was like, "We're not like that's not what's going on." Like they wanted somebody in meetings who would appear a certain way, and he wasn't going to bring that to the meeting. I mean, it kind of feels like we're
real quick. I just Googled this guy, and he has deleted his LinkedIn.
Of course.
He has deleted his LinkedIn.
I feel so bad for this guy. His life
sure.
is on fire right now. I mean, how do you come back from this?
For sure.
At some point there's going to be a lawsuit. That's kind of how it feels, just because of,
And that is a lawyer talking. So how does Disney explain pushing these discriminatory practices? They use code words and buzzwords.
I'm guessing that there's a acceptable code words and buzzwords that are used to explain what they're looking for. They might say something like, look, we're not looking at like the usual suspects for this job. So it's like not like a legally actionable thing, but everybody knows what it means. They, for writers and actors, you hear all the time, like, looking to hire writers and actors who bring diversity. I'm not looking to bring on any more clients who are.
As an aside here, if somebody's like, how can you tell that Disney's not a meritocracy anymore? Look at the quality of their products. Like, that's how you know it's not a meritocracy on the inside. It is plainly visible to anyone who is consuming their media.
I am fascinated by that. I mean, this is what everybody knows. Everybody knows this, but to hear it said by an executive at the company, and for how long will this person be an executive at the company?
They're almost certainly already fired.
Right. And they'll be like for breaking NDA or whatever. Right. That'll be the reason why, because everybody signs an NDA when you go to a company. Can we also talk about the insanity of like going on a date? Like, how many dates do you have to go on with somebody and then just start spilling your guts about this? Like, how stupid are these people? Like, if you know this is bad, but how do you just go on a few dates with somebody and just start spilling your guts about how bad of a company Disney is? I don't know. This always happens with these guys, and it's always like dating stuff. It's weird. Les, do you have any thoughts on this, or is this just more than what we already knew?
I kind of feel like this is already what we knew, but also I do question, why would you spill everything like this? It's very interesting.
Did you guys see that Disney leak that came out, I think, earlier this year that showed they had like different color codes for shows, and a show needed to fit like one of three criterias in order to get made? It needed to have like a certain proportion of a black cast. It had to be based on black themes, or it had to, So like we knew that they were doing this bigotry, and that bigotry was core to. I mean, I guess it was started by a guy who hated the Jews. They're just continuing with their history of bigotry that will be frowned upon in 20, 30 years.
It's just absolutely amazing. Let's continue on.
Welcome to the Disney Tapes. My name is James O'Keefe, standing here in Burbank, California, outside Disney corporate headquarters. This is our first part in a series about blatant discrimination and woke policies at the Walt Disney Company. To say that the Disney Company has had a tumultuous 5 years, well, that would be an understatement. Major box office flops, a losing battle with the state of Florida, and a stock that is one of the worst performers on Wall Street. And as you'll probably conclude from this report, as well as recent shareholder rumblings, almost all of Disney's recent failings are as a result of Bob Iger and the cast of characters here at Disney that are trying to force woke DEI policies into every aspect of Disney's vast media empire. What used to be a highly profitable company by being the gold standard of family entertainment has taken a sharp downturn in the wake of all of its wokeness. Under CEO Bob Iger's leadership, Disney's downfall likely started with the insane hiring practices amongst its executives and creative teams. One of their top senior vice presidents claims that they not only discriminate against white men, when recruiting and hiring middle management, they actually give bonuses for hiring and retaining employees that are specifically not white. According to these videotapes, Disney.
I would just like to point this out, right? Change the word white with Latino or anything else, and then tell me that that's not blatant. You know what I mean? Like, that's all you need to do to be like, well, maybe just be like, maybe this is wrong. You know, maybe this is wrong. Just switch it. And I feel like that'd be a really great like Twitter account where you see these things where they're complaining about whatever, you know, and you just change the word one time. I mean,
that'd be like a fun AI project. You just make AI run that Twitter account and have it swap everything. Somebody get Grant on speed dial. See what he can do.
I mean, it's very much a whites not welcome here sign, basically, in front of Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, really, do we need to have separate water fountains? You know,
I am very glad they make it easy to boycott their products.
Right. You know, it's funny. I was watching a great movie that ironically Disney has. It's about the women who were like the mathematicians who worked on the NASA stuff in the 60s and the moon landing and such. And, you know, they're all like black women in it and talks about racism in it and stuff. And like the movie it's really, really good. But you look at that and you go like, that wasn't that long ago. It was in, you know, this is in this is in Virginia in the 60s, and they're talking about segregation and stuff. And like that stuff it's like we're only talking about 50, 60 years ago, this stuff happening. And it's like, how are people forgetting how horrible this is? How are people forgetting what a horrible idea this is? Hiring people based off of their race as a whole instead of a meritocracy. It's insane. It's insane.
Well, it's the way that racism always works, and I think because we're sort of lied to and we're taught about how racism works, is they dehumanize the group that they are going to attack, which I think we saw in the bear in the woods meme that went around. But like, for example, when the Nazis were dehumanizing the Jews, the arguments they used is they said, well, these people are a threat to us, and they said that they have more money than us, and more historic power than us, and therefore are evil, and therefore it's okay to dehumanize them and then attack them. And these are the practices that you're seeing reemerge. This idea that, well, we can be mean to this group because they have some form of additional power or advantage. That is almost always the first argument that the racist clings to.
Seeing that today. Let's go to continue.
Blatantly discriminates against white men in particular. Not a week goes by without a news headline about potential medical supply shortages, threats to our infrastructure, or power grid. And you remember what they pulled during the last pandemic. Certain medications were mysteriously...
This looks like an ad real quick. Let's go ahead and skip ahead of that really fast. And thank you, Twitter scrubs. Twitter, as always, the inability to scrub video. I'll be right back. Let's pull that back up. Man, this is... Once again, I feel like this is one of those things where it's like we all knew this was happening, but it is. Yeah, go ahead.
It's important to understand how it happened. So one of the things that you guys had in the show notes that we didn't end up covering was sort of the cycle of DEI, that circular cycle. I don't know if you can pull that up, but I think we recently, with the Wendigoon controversy, saw how this works, which is to say that, you know, woke people begin to enter a space, and then they say, now this is our space, and everything that happens in this space must conform to our agenda, and why don't you just go and start something else? And you saw this in the Embrace of Shadow controversy, because this guy had declared horror as a progressive space, and that people who were not progressive or even suspected non-progressives, like they had talked to or were friends with people who were not progressives, were not allowed in that space. And we see their ultimate agenda even through that video when he said stuff like he should not be allowed in our spaces or in public in general, which is to say that their ultimate goal is to prevent people with any sort of ideological diversity from having any say in the public sphere, or any ability to contact the public sphere. And they do that through the kindness of lateral, multi-ideological spaces, like originally a company like Disney, welcoming them in, and then they utilize those individuals' kindness to begin to disproportionately cycle out anyone who doesn't think like them. I mean, that's what really DEI is doing when they're giving people these tests and stuff like that they have to score certain scrolls there. They're testing your ideology to make sure that you're on board with this essentially like an organically grown cult. I think it's worth being vigilant about that. If you are running a company, you cannot allow one of these people in your company because it spreads from there.
Right. Let's go to continue here and see where this goes.
Today, when you use code OMG.
We have a diversity, equity, inclusion department who's very
Okay.
involved in like setting standards to make sure that our shows have diversity.
Do you think like Bob has a say in the diversity stuff when they're casting people? Like
100%.
So what
He gives the directive. I mean,
for each show? For each
not that specifically, but like, hey, I want every show to have substantial.
Iger even has a chief diversity officer. Now, up until recently, that was Latondra Newton, who played a big part in dragging Disney full bore into its losing culture war by promoting discriminatory hiring practices and introducing gay, lesbian, transgender, non-binary, and other characters into Disney's children's animated series and films.
Is it like an all-across thing, like all of HR, or there's like that one specific person that kind of like, because I forgot the lady's name, she's the head of the,
I know you're talking about the head of the
African American lady, yeah. So is that like kind of her deciding
She
that?
oversees a lot of that for sure. But it's pretty broad, I would say. There are other people in HR who are also focused on that. I would say a relatively large percentage of our top writer creators happen to be women. And a lot of
just by happenstance.
I mean, like, just like if you say whatever, I don't know, whatever 10 or 15% of the population is gay, I would guess that 30 to 35% of our top writers are gay. And so a lot of them lean into trans stories more than the average straight writer would.
It's almost like it's not representative of reality. Almost at all,
Yeah. Well, I mean, and an interesting thing here. I just wish she would ask him, why hasn't Kathleen Kennedy been fired? Like, that's the core thing I want to know. Like, genuinely, like, even with all this wokeness, why hasn't she been fired?
Because she's got dirt on somebody
She
so
must.
badly. Some type of thing that happened years ago that she knows everything about, some type of like maybe sexual assault. I'm just guessing here, but she's got something big.
I think you're right. And that leads me to think that there are some people high up at Disney who are likely PDA files. That's probably my guess.
Yeah.
Let's go to continue here.
And in an odd twist, you have to be a white Jewish guy to be considered for a C-suite job. More on that next week. But now let's meet Los Angeles-based Michael Giordano, a white male and Walt Disney Senior Vice President of Business Affairs.
I do like business affairs, so like negotiations for television.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. That's really cool.
Like on the creative side. So a lot of it is, like knowing like the guild agreements and the union agreements and everything. Like make offers for the writers and the actors who are going to be out working on the show, and the producers and the directors, and try to like, get to a place where we can be able to deal with them, help the production to budget, and so much of my job is just the negotiate really. And then other people are doing kind of the contracts. So,
oh wow. So yeah, what's the negotiating like?
I'm like sitting down trying to figure out, okay, what are we gonna pay this actor for this role? What do we think they want?
Oh wow.
Strategize that. Everything from how you produce a show, how you distribute a show, how you exhibit a show, how you market a show, things like that. All of the negotiations and deal making.
Yeah.
Actually two of our brave undercover journalist and American swiper investigative reporters met Michael on the dating app Hinge. And aside from this story, which focused on Disney's overt discrimination against white men, you'll see later on in this report, it'll be quite entertaining, Michael turns out to be quite the ladies' man.
How long has it been on?
90 Dragoons came in with a $15 direct donation. Says, it never ceases to amaze me that James O'Keefe's journalists can convince corporate agents to spill all of the beans of all the crimes they do by just meeting them for a drink, batting their eyes, and asking them, so how is work going? Like, dude, and that's kind of where I'm at, right? With all this, it just seems it is amazing. That is absolutely amazing, and you're 100% right.
I don't think it's amazing. I think it makes all the sense in the world. These are some businessmen who never have any time to actually go on real dates. They don't talk to women very often. And so when they finally do, they just let it all out. And it just how happens to be beautiful women undercover who hears it all with a little camera and microphone going, and how's that make you feel? Boobs out. Done. Easy.
And I think a lot of this is normalized for them. Like they don't see this as being the evil bigotry it appears to us, because to them, you know, the white males are justly an underclass. Like
it's virtuous for them.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yes, they're correcting the wrongs.
Yeah.
Lads, I do think there is something to what you just said, though. The idea that that maybe these guys, they don't have time. That's why they're on the dating app. That's why they're getting together and they're trying to like.
These are big stress heads, super stress heads. Look at their positions, right? Obviously, anybody in that position is going to be a stress head. So.
I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of this just comes down to they want to get some pussy.
They
right?
want their balls to be empty.
Yes, and they're willing to say whatever it takes to get that done.
Yep.
You know, all right.
Well, I mean, also be aware of how weird this is that a guy his age and at his wealth isn't married. Like historically, you never would have had that. You know, again, I'm glad that these people are removing themselves from the gene pool because they're not healthy for society.
Let's go to continue.
Like dating out.
Not very long.
Have you been going out?
Not a lot. Not a lot.
Anything like for it?
You know what's funny? No.
Let's dig right into Disney's blatant practices of discrimination. If you're wondering how Disney as a company looks at race, gender, and discrimination in the hiring process, about how they recruit and hire talent, look no further.
I think there are times when it's like so front and center. It's like great because that's the focus. You know, like we have so many shows where we're casting and we're like, yeah, we're not even going to see, you know, certain people for it because we need that particular role to.
Yeah. So is it intentional that they want they only look for diverse candidates for certain roles?
Yeah. I think there's certainly a belief that it's just good for society and they know, but there's also.
Bingo. Nailed it right there. It's good for society that they do this. This is the virtuous aspect of all this. Malcolm, you were talking about that.
Yeah.
But
again, then he says that they make a lot of money. They know it doesn't make money. Like, do they still think that this is working?
I mean, there has to be some metric that they're seeing that says this is positive for the business. There has to be. Like, these companies don't work just off a hunch. They work off data. So that's what I'm most curious about. Like, what data are they looking at that's saying this is a good idea?
I think that in some way it kind of does work, because isn't there that sweet ESG money that if you do XYZ, you'll get some money in reimbursement? So maybe they're looking into that.
Potentially.
Or they just want to drive everything out so that way everything will have a shit value and they could just buy stuff. But like, I don't know why they would do it to themselves. I don't know. It's Disney.
Let's go continue.
So a belief that like we're going to make more money if we appeal to a wider variety of people, and it's a good thing. We have shareholders too, you know, and so diversity helps with that.
Diversity helps with financial incentive.
How long has Disney really been pushing this? The last 4 or 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Blabs, will you just do some quick digging on Disney's revenue from, let's do the last 10 years of revenue from 2014 to 2024.
It's definitely very recent because I remember when Owl House was canceled, one of the reasons for its cancellation was the focus on gay characters. And Owl House, by the way, was great. So that was an example of when the writers were still going against the tide. So it really only began after Owl House.
When was Owl House?
Let's see.
It's okay. Well, while that is searched, let's continue on to this.
So is it like, do you think it's more so on that side, or are you using like any good prices get put to use? Or
I think it gives them regardless, but I think that there are like even conservative people who may not lean into it can easily make the argument that like we make more money when we have to deal with a wider variety of people, and that means diversity.
Yeah.
There's a real focus on every show, and I'm sure the movies too. That I don't deal with that side of it. So, making sure that the writers' room has a real, diversity, not just gender or sexual orientation and ethnicity, but making sure that they're hiring some writers who have certain disabilities where they wouldn't hire them. So there's kind of a really broad look whenever we're doing hiring to make sure.
Yeah.
So they talk a big game about DEI, but do they actually do it? Apparently so. They even passed over a qualified half-black person for a promotion because they didn't look black enough.
Yeah.
We had a situation where we wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago now, who was half black, but didn't appear half black. And there was a creative executive who was like, "We're not that's not what's going on." Like
They wanted the full.
They wanted somebody in meetings who would appear a certain way, and he wasn't going to bring that to the meeting.
And so this is.
Go ahead, Malcolm. I see.
I love that we're back in this stage where, you have sort of different racial casts, and the people who are half black are sort of in this middling cast. He's too white for this. We can't. Which is just fascinating to me that they've gone, just full racist with this. Owl House, by the way, was actually running until 2023, so last year, but the cancellation came midway through season 2, as I remember, which was 2021. So sometimes they cancel things before the full season is ready.
Right. Wow. I mean, just absolutely amazing stuff. That they're so blatant about it. Well, he does. Once again, replace that with anything. He didn't look X enough. What insanity is this? My gosh. And once again, this is all hearsay, right? This could just be some guy puffing out his chest trying to tell big stories. But at the same time, it's like, what? The crazy thing is that this is believable in this society that we live in right now. And if I'm whoever that is, if that guy found out, he would own Disney by the time he was done with this report, because if it ever got back to that guy that he was passed up because he wasn't black enough, wow.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Let's continue.
This is on the corporate side, the business side.
I never understood that. Is it cause I know a lot I have a lot of black friends who are not as dark as so do they care about that, or is the ethnicity actually?
They say they don't care about it, but the truth is, to some extent, they do. If you're mixed, but you don't look black at all, which sometimes happens, then they're like, "Oh, I'm not so sure." But if you're mixed and you can tell somebody's part black, but they're not that black, then okay, that was so crazy.
I just want to say this. Read what's on the screen right here. But if you're mixed and you can tell they're somebody's part black, but they're not that black. How unbelievable. What year is this that we're living in? This is unreal that this guy just said. That black. Wow.
And this is why you need an anti-DEI consultancy firm that can go through and clean up this mess, because this is systemic discrimination at all levels of the company, systemic bigotry.
Wow. Well, they're somebody's part black, but they're not that black. Okay, that was so crazy.
But apparently Meghan Markle is black enough. You can't make this up.
So would Meghan Markle, who's pretty white,
right? Yeah.
Would she be considered?
She would still be
diverse,
Huh? As a white guy, even Michael has his own doubts about the possibility for advancement for himself at Disney, saying, quote, "As far as Disney is concerned, I'm a white male."
Now I'm a half step below a department head. I have a team under me, but I don't oversee a whole department. And I'd like to oversee everyone, whether that's at Disney or have a Disney.
Okay. Do you think that you'll have opportunity at Disney?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I think I'm sort of like well prepared for it. I'm well positioned for it. But as far as Disney's concerned, I'm a white male, and that's not who they're looking at promoting.
In fact, Michael actually got to experience Disney's discrimination against white males firsthand.
So,
Oh, do you think that has a lot to do with it?
I don't know a lot, but it's something to do with it.
Really?
Yeah.
If it has anything to do with it, there's the issue. That's I don't know how much more clear you can make it if there's anything to do with it.
Well, and I would contrast this with the woman who is the head of a Disney show making a song about how discriminated she is. Like, just the level of vileness to that,
Right.
when we know the practices got her a role that she wouldn't have gotten had she not been a Black woman.
I mean, and you're right. This is both sides of the coin right here. You have somebody who is literally a multimillionaire who has their role without an audition, complaining about oppression. While this guy's like, I'm just trying to get hired, but they're not. I'm just trying to move up the company, but they won't let me. Oh wow!
But I mean, we know that all these people.
Go ahead, Malcolm.
Well, I'm just saying, like, none of this is particularly outlandish to me. I mean, like, we know that Disney's doing this. Like, you're not surprised by this, I'm sure.
No. That's what I'm saying. I think that it's like everybody knows this is happening. It's just a matter of hearing somebody say it, and for you to feel that disgusting vomit and that vomit just coming up from your stomach. That you just like, this is disgusting. That's
well, no, and this is something that I think a lot of white guys have heard, especially if they're, have access to like high level ability to get hired at stuff. I hear all the time, like as I was mentioning earlier, oh, don't apply to this if you're a white guy. And I think that progressives hear this and they just don't register, oh my God, like this is systematic bigotry. And so they don't realize that they're hearing this all the time. But I think most white guys have heard this, I'd say maybe once every 3 years these days.
It's not the first and probably won't be the last time either. Let's go and continue.
Oh, I mean, I've been up for jobs internally against people who have less experience than me, and haven't gotten.
Okay. And they were given to somebody else. Do you think it had something to do with their...
One or two cases, I was told very explicitly that it is. Yeah.
Explicitly how? What did they tell you?
I mean, I've been at the company for 11 years now, so I have friends in HR and I have friends in those divisions, and they're like, look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for a shot. They're just not. That's what they want.
And so...
You see people who are critics of videos like this, and they say, well, they're selectively edited, right? They're selectively edited. Like this guy just went on a rant for 2 minutes talking about this with no edits at all, with questions in between. It's like he's literally laying it out. The only thing that you could potentially question is this guy who he says he is? Does this guy actually work for the company? What is his experience? Because that's the one thing, we're taking them at their word. This person apparently works at Disney. Up until 20 minutes ago, I had no idea who this guy was, right? So we're taking him as his word that this person is real. Right. But when you say, oh, it's selectively edited, literally every piece of media that has had a single slice associated with it has been edited selectively. Whether you're watching the news, whether you're watching something on YouTube, whether you're watching something on TikTok, everything has been selectively edited, whether you like it or not. Sorry. Drives me crazy. Let's go to continue.
So it's probably fair that Disney would say, we don't want a white person to play this role.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're very careful about they're very careful around messaging because they don't want to get to discrimination in either direction. But certainly there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male person.
Just kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken. But
how would they say it?
No way we're hiring a white male person. They say,
like straight to you, or okay?
They'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
In like email or whatever.
After getting a dose of Disney's discrimination himself, it seems like Michael may have been hit with a reality check that discrimination against people based upon race is probably not cool.
I mean, it kind of feels like at some point there's going to be a lawsuit. That's kind of how it feels, just because of,
And that is a lawyer talking. Now, could it get worse? It actually does. Not only does Disney discriminate against white men, it gives management bonuses to hire DEI candidates over white men, totally disregarding their level of qualification, as long as they're not white. You heard me correctly. A part of some executives' compensation package is based on hiring and retaining black hires. We saw this in the case of IBM. America First Legal has launched a lawsuit. Many people coming out of the woodwork from IBM, from these Fortune 500 companies, all saying they've experienced this. We are certain to hear from people inside Disney who've made these claims. Many people here in Los Angeles, here in Hollywood, very afraid of Disney, very afraid of retaliation against their creative productions or movies or films or jobs for speaking about this truth. But if you have been a victim of discrimination, please reach out to OMG or Citizen Journalism Foundation, and we will try to get you representation to get your rights back.
Do you think that it's going to take one big lawsuit? Is it going to be a class action, or is it going to be a singular lawsuit like the Gina Carano, right? Her lawsuit, that's been the big talking point. With Gina Carano, is her lawsuit, if it continues, which I haven't heard anything about that, because the judge was apparently looking at throwing it out based off of a Disney request. I don't think we have any news on that. But really, like, the Carano lawsuit could actually be a really big turning point in this, or could it not? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Malcolm?
I agree. I think I'm going, Malcolm.
I'll let you go.
Yeah, I think that if this lawsuit of Gina's continues, then I think it'll open up the gates for possible lawsuits or, class action lawsuits to continue. But if it's thrown out, I don't think there's a whole lot to go on.
Yeah, so my read of this is, given how big Disney is in terms of local power plays, and given that this is the dominant cultural faction anyway, it's going to be pretty hard to get a law firm that can actually go to bat on an issue like this. So I do not think that the tide turns because of any form of a lawsuit here. I just don't see it being one. Keep in mind, you have to win in the California court system. That's just likely not going to happen, especially the LA system. Like, these are incredibly activist driven courts. So what I do think, like, if this actually does retreat, I think it will be driven by a share owners push, which is to say, you get an anti-DEI consulting firm like ours that's meant to, remove the bigotry from these sorts of companies that is leading to the poor financial performance, which we are absolutely seeing from Disney right now, to go in and clean house. I could see activist investors spearheading something like that, and that being the real turning point. I mean, I think it's the dollars lost that's going to drive this, not a random legal suit in an already hostile environment in a company with infinitively deep pockets.
I think that's the biggest thing is the money that Disney has. I mean, if they go to battle over this, if this went to court, they're fighting for their company's life at this point, and they will exhaust all resources based off of the decisions that they've made here. There's only a couple minutes left of this. Let's go ahead and finish this up and see where this goes.
Privacy patch. Unplug.com/OMG.
I mean, HR keeps in a huge spreadsheet. Yeah.
What kind of spreadsheet?
Oh, I mean, I haven't seen it exactly, but I mean, literally, they have stats. 17% of our executives at this level identify as XYZ. 40% of our executives at this level identify as, they have goals that they're trying to. They want a certain percentage of diversity here, a certain percentage of diversity there.
But are these these are open goals? Because you're saying they can't say it in such specific terms. So are they open goals?
They are open goals at a senior enough level.
So how does Disney explain pushing these discriminatory practices to the people that they work with? Well, according to Michael Giordano, it seems like it's a sensitive issue, and they use code words and buzzwords.
I'm guessing that there is a acceptable code words and buzzwords that are used to explain what they're looking for. They might say something like, look, we're not looking at the usual suspects for this job. So it's not a legally actionable thing. So everybody knows what it means.
According to Michael, even Disney's human resources agencies are on board with these practices. All right, guys, do you know what the code words are for the discriminatory hiring practices? Do you work in HR? No? You familiar with the buzzwords? They don't know what I'm talking about now, but they will soon.
they, the writers and actors, I'll hear all the time, like, I'm looking to hire writers and actors who bring diversity. I'm not looking to bring on any more clients who are like, so there's definitely that focus.
Disney even has an internal organization such as 20th Action Group, whose sole purpose is to promote discriminatory DEI hiring practices and to push bizarre characters and storylines on children. The question is, can the people just come to work, make their cartoons, and do the discrimination elsewhere? But apparently not on CEO Bob Iger's watch. So how is prioritizing these DEI practices over hiring merit-based talent worked out for Disney shareholders, you might ask? Well, over the past 5 years, the S&P index is up over 88%, and Disney is down almost 30%, making that once golden brand one of Wall Street's biggest disappointments. Yes, the disaster that Disney has become is probably the most glaring example of what happens when you prioritize DEI over talent content creators and executives who truly know how to build value. So will Disney turn it all around and hire or promote based upon merit? We shall see. This is just part one. We got another tape coming out next week. This is a multiple part series. I spoke with Michael Giordano. You'll see that soon.
I always love the confrontation. Oh, this is where it gets good.
We are.
You have nothing to say?
Haven't seen you. Do you work for Disney?
I'm not gonna.
Is this you right here?
And hopefully we get a comment from the CEO, Bob Iger, reporting from Burbank, California, outside the Walt Disney Company. This is James O'Keefe with OMG.
All right. There's always the confrontation.
That face, he was like, "Eee." That's like that The Office meme of Steve Carell's character going, same thing.
I in his videos, I do hate the cringe like confrontation stuff. Like yelling at the random people on the street. Like, come on, guy. Like, you got the piece. Let's just hammer home
Be
something
civil.
like this. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, God, I can't. But nothing in this surprises me really. I think anyone who's worked in corporate America knows that there is systemic bigotry encoded into hiring policies and promotion policies at pretty much any large bureaucracy, whether or not, I mean, you're going to find these same practices at Google. You're going to find these same practices at IBM. You're going to find these same practices likely even at organizations like McKinsey.
We said this a little bit ago. This is something everybody knew, but to hear it so blatantly said, it's just like, man, I don't know how anybody who is anti-bigot can potentially support that company, and that's the most amazing thing about it. So
It's going to be very interesting in the next couple of days. All the Disney shills, what are they going to do? Are they going to stay silent? Are they going to say something? Are they actually going to be like, actually, guys, this is not okay. This is racism. It'll be very interesting and very telling what happens in the next couple of days, I think.
I mean, this is a perfect political climate for this to come out in. It's sort of, we've seen the pendulum begin to really swing back in the other direction this year on a number of major issues with things like the Cass report. I don't know if you guys have covered that on your show, but it's been pretty ground like shattering in terms of how far things are swinging in the other direction or how quickly they are.
Well, I guess we'll see kind of what the response is to this. I'm sure Disney's going to put out some sort of blanket statement about it being, it's all deceptively edited, blah, 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 blah. And you'll hear all the talking points that these big corporations always put out. And how can you trust, James O'Keefe and blah, it's like, how about you keep your executives on a leash and have them not sing like birds when they go on a date? I'm just going to throw it out there.
It reminds me of I had shown somebody this study, and there was a guy who was reviewing a study, and I sent them to his Substack, and they go, "Oh, I can't read that Substack because the guy is alt-right. Don't you know he's a famous alt-right scientist?" And I was like, "But it's data. Like, what do you mean you can't look at the data because it's being presented by someone who your overlords have identified as alt-right?" And I think that we'll see the same with this, because the recordings were taken by somebody like him. A certain portion of the world's just going to pretend like they don't exist. If people are like, oh, the legal system will like you were saying, right? Look at what our legal system just did. Trump is got this felony conviction, and Hunter Biden, despite like everyone now admitting that the laptop was real, there's been no consequences for that.
Well, and you know what? There won't be with any of this, and that's the sad part about all this. Blabs, why don't you finish up with some of this support over here, some of the super chats, and then we'll wrap it up for the day.
Okay, so the acolyte should just be called the Yappolite. Just a bunch of women yapping, not like you, Blabs. Thanks, Kevin. Matthew says, the reason why he doesn't quit is the same reason why I don't quit my job. It's the money, which sucks, but it is what it is. Listen, we understand people need to eat. You have a family, I get it. The worthy one says, Craig, trust me. A lot of us white who are black are tired of these mixed race actors bitching about how oppressed they are when they're far from it. They really want to appeal to their black side so bad they go all in on activist bullshit.
Thanks, worthy one.
Doc Mar says, with OMG's undercover dates, I think these may be set up for whistleblowers so they aren't penalized as harshly by companies. Maybe. Maybe. David says, I've been personally boycotting Disney since they thanked the concentration camps of China and Mulan. Yeah, that was wild.
Right. Yes.
Jer Rarebear says, it's atrocious that the left wants to conquer all these fan spaces. It just alienates most of the moderate fans and sucks all the fun out of it, making it less appealing and only weakens the IP. Exactly. Ellen says, hail, side scores. I missed the live yesterday, but thank you for covering the Nick Rekieta story. I was a fan of his, but not anymore. He's not a normal man. Thank you, Alan.
Not normal man actions. I'll tell you that much.
Captain Capitalism says, I live in Florida. I wish Disney World would relocate. Yeah, let me just pick up the whole park and whoop.
Yeah, that ain't going to work.
Yeah. Slane says, I've heard about pay to win, but DEI practices is pay to fail. Corporations are getting paid to undermine the futures of white people in America. Yeah. Elite Nia says, just saw some breaking news about Donald Sutherland's passing. Rip Sergeant Oddball. Rip President Snow. You will be missed. Yep. Shame. Ian Soforth says, if you're on a date and she's referencing a notepad, maybe play your cards close to your chest. Yeah.
She's like looking down. She's got this bullet points of like all the things they're talking about.
Quotations and everything. Eleni of Hurl says, hail, side scrollers. I caught you guys live this time.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. What's the last? Hyrule?
Hyrule. What did I say? Hyrule?
Hyrule?
Hyrule. Sorry. Hail, side scrolls. Shut up, Craig. I got the Craigisms today. Glad I caught you guys live this time. It's moving week, so I've been super busy, but I just want to say thanks, Craig, Blabs, and Malcolm for everything you do. And thanks to normal men who watch my live stream. Well, I hope you have an easy move and as less stress as possible, because that stuff is very stressful. And congrats on the live stream.
Hopefully your book club did great.
Yeah. Kyle says, guys, it's clearly a cheap fake.
A cheap fake, yes.
AI.
Yes. Mercenary says, rumor has it Catherine Kennedy has copies of everything from the island of Epstein's, who didn't kill himself. If true, she has dirt on everyone, and I mean everyone. That kind of dirt that would send a mop with pitchforks, I guess mob and pitchforks and torches to Bob Iger. He followed up and says, apparently Gina Carano's lawsuit is going through, and they're in discovery. Imagine what happens if this gets involved with it, because now they've got evidence of discrimination, and this is going to bring Disney down criminally. The floodgates are open.
I haven't seen anything about the Gina Carano update. Like, I even went to Gina Carano's Twitter. Yeah. There is no update yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
I could see the Epstein thing being true. I mean, what we've got to keep in mind is, like, what can we learn from the Epstein thing, right? I think what we learned is, first, that there was actually an active network of PDA files within elite circles. And what we learned from him dying and there being no follow-up to this is that network is still active and has power. Still. Otherwise... Right. We would have rooted it out. We would have gone through all the files and taken everyone who was involved down, but we didn't. So why didn't we? Because they still have power.
All right. Let's go wrap it up as Captain Capitalism came in, says alt-right equals anyone right of Bernie Sanders. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Welcome to the club. Yeah. All right. Let's go and wrap it up, guys. Malcolm, thanks for hanging out with us a little bit later. Thank you guys for hanging out with us a little bit. Yes. Where can everybody find you, Malcolm?
You can come check us out on the YouTube or podcast Based Camp with my wife. You're just YouTube Malcolm and Simone. We do stuff every day, and we cover sex, politics, and religion. For example, the episode today was on rapidly falling populations of Catholics in the United States and what can be done about that. But yeah.
All right. Tomorrow we got a big show. It's going to be Side Scroll Hers, as we're going to be joined by a couple wonderful folks, including a first timer. Mally Mouse will be joining us for the first time. Mally has I'm really excited to have Mally on. It's going to be great. So join us tomorrow when we're back at it at 11 a.m. Central Time. Go find Malcolm over on Basecamp. Go find Blabs over on her channel. And of course, you can find me here and over on the Side Scrollers Place channel. You can find all of us over on X. Links to those are down in the description. Guys, thanks so much for your support. You guys have a great rest of your day. And remember, people are going to try to keep you down. Don't let them. You guys got a goal. Go get it. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.
Fertility.